Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this presentation of the ECL Elite Division right here on NHL Gamer. My name is Doogie, joined as always by my broadcast partner in Sin for the win. And Sin, the time has arrived. It is Final Four week here in the postseason. The playoffs kicked off last week. A very exciting first round that we'll have to talk about here leading in to the action, as we'll be covering the first two games of each of our semifinal series here tonight in this broadcast. Can you believe that we're here already?
No, it's just flown by, as it seems to do every season. Just such good hockey being played, and from now it just keeps getting more and more competitive until we eventually do crown a champion.
Absolutely. So again, let's get everybody caught up on what has happened so far here in the postseason. Here's a look at the bracket and where we stand, as again, we have hit the Final Four. So, of course, starting at the very top, our number one seed, our defending champions in Philadelphia, stave off a little bit of a scare against our 8th seed in IQ, who, of course, won promotion from our Pro Division last year. So, an incredible accomplishment for IQ, and Sin, Philadelphia, losing more games in that series than they lost throughout the entirety of last year's championship run.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive, and they matched their entire losses for this whole regular season. They only suffered 2 losses in overtime, by the way, and IQ handed them 2 losses here in the playoffs. It's an interesting thing. I'm curious to see if that sort of thing will carry over into this FBK series, or if they've kind of got everything sorted out.
And speaking of FBK, I'll jump to the bottom of the bracket there. As you saw, the battle of 4 and 5, also newly promoted Goons, putting up a very good fight against FBK. Sin, correct me if I'm wrong, that was a 3-0 series lead, if I'm not mistaken there. So for Goons to force Game 6, put up a very good fight in their first elite season. But it sets up a little bit of revenge for FBK, who we thought might have played Phila in round 2 last year, but they fell to Yippee Voskala. We do get that matchup this season again. Phila and FBK will kick off the action tonight. And of course, later on in this broadcast, you'll get the other matchup, a rematch from last year's semifinal, as hREDS will take on HAVU. hREDS dispatching of Poggers in 4 games. The only first round sweep that we had. Talk about expect the unexpected, as we've said all season long. Big shout out to Poggers, though, getting over the hump and getting into the playoffs. Big accomplishment for them. And, of course, it was HAVU taking care of YMCA in 5 games. Another team, I think, that overperformed all expectations this year. So it brings us into the Final Four here again. The first 2 games of these best-of-7 series. Next few games will be played on Wednesday, and the conclusion, if necessary, on Thursday. And Sin, as we talk about this particular matchup here, I want to get everybody a look at the team stats. Of course, our opening matchup, Philadelphia and FBK. You look at the numbers in the playoffs so far. For FBK, it's a little bit surprising. I mean, a dead even goal differential, yet you still won in 6 games. Whereas for Phila, you know, you have the goal scoring outputs where you would expect it to be. But that defense, 8 goals against IQ, I mean, it's a little bit surprising, and maybe a bit of an opening and a bit of a reason for some optimism for FBK when going up against arguably the league's best defensive team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not a huge total, but like you said, it is that little bit of a door opening there. The thing that I like about Philadelphia is their power play percentage here in the playoffs. So we kind of addressed that. That was their one perceived weak point throughout the season. And well, they absolutely have it going 38%. I mean, it's going to be a tough series regardless, but FBK, where they would have had that advantage that you would have thought going into here, not so much anymore. So they're going to have to stay out of the box, try to capitalize on every single chance available. It's just going to be tough for them here.
So with that, of course, we'll take a look at the team lineups here in this matchup. The exact 6 on both sides that you would expect for FBK. It's Afe, the captain, Mullen, and Antonio Mannon on the right. Furion and Laminens on defense. McSavid between the pipes for Phila. Playmaker, Captain Potsloff and Eki. Teemu Loimu on defense. Kape between the pipes. And that will bring us, Sin, to the battle of the centers, as it always does, to kick things off here. Dead identical numbers in terms of games played and point production. And Sin, it's been a big part of what we've said all season long, the evolution of FBK. And you could argue it starts in the middle. This has been arguably the best season we have ever seen from Mullen.
Yeah, he has just been absolutely fantastic. Two-way game still there, obviously getting some more points, and that creates a lot more threat regarding the front three. It used to be kind of the Afe show at times, being Antonio stepping up, especially in these playoffs, and Mullen, as you mentioned, throughout the course of this season and in the playoffs. Now this is a much more complete team than perhaps it's ever been. And when you're going up against a team like Philadelphia, the epitome of a complete team, they're definitely going to need that here.
Absolutely. We'll take a look at the wingers here as well. And I want to start off talking about that right-hand side first with Playmaker and with Eki, as you see the point totals there. Unsurprisingly, of course, that Eki is leading the way. And Sim, we were able to get word with quite a few players here today heading into these matchups, including Eki. Let's take a listen at what he had to say as he prepares for this second round matchup against Färjestad.
All right. Well, thank you, Tuggy and Sin. I'm here with Eki from Philadelphia. I think everyone will know this right wing at this point. So I suppose let's just get straight into it. So going into this season, Eki, undoubtedly the biggest headline of the past off season was the move of J Toro to HAVU and the subsequent pickup of Teemu from Yip. Can you just talk to us about what essentially sold Philadelphia on Teemu? And if you're comfortable answering, what does he bring to the table that J Toro maybe doesn't?
When Toro left, I think Teemu was the first option we looked at. He was playing against us in ECL 11 finals in hREDS. We kind of knew what he was capable of. He's kind of a young guy. He has a lot of potential to get better. That was a huge thing to us. And player-wise, Toro and Teemu are kind of similar. Think about offense first, but at the same time, I think Teemu can really step into that defensive role. And I think we allowed 1 goal per game this season as a group. So that's a huge deal, I think. And of course, Teemu is a big part of that.
So kind of a continuation of the last question. After emerging victorious in ECL 11, did these off-season events give you guys an extra push and motivation to, win the season at all?
Yeah, of course. Leaving of Toro was really came out of the blue for us. We didn't expect it at all. So of course it gave us extra motivation, and I can say here that we sure as hell don't want to lose to Toro.
Okay. Well, finally, from the outside as a viewer and as a player, it really feels like Philadelphia's almost figured out what works in this game to its very fundamental core. Indeed, I don't think anyone could disagree in saying that you are favourites to become the first back-to-back ECL champion. So, earnestly, do you believe that you'll have much of an issue this round?
Well, I don't want to say that we'll win easily, because that's never the case in the ECL semifinals. Färjestad We just beat them in the EASHL finals, the Swedish League finals, with the same lineup. So we know how they play. Usually we've done very good against them, but looking at them, I felt like they've improved all the time. And you talked about like mastering the game. I think they play the game like they're up there with any team, like in terms of how they play. So of course, I'm expecting us to win, but you never know.
Okay. Well, I think that's all the questions we have, unless you'd like to say something quickly.
Not really.
Okay.
Good luck to Färjestad in the games.
Well, in that case, thanks for doing this. Good luck in the series later on, and we'll pass it back to Sin and Tuggy.
Thank you, Martin.
So a big thank you to Connor there. Again, you'll be hearing from him throughout this broadcast. And Sin, of course, we heard it from Eki there, talking about the history of these two teams. And as we go back to looking at the winger comparison here, I mean, again, you talk about the history, you talk about the expectations, you talk about the offensive firepower on both sides. I mean, I mentioned the point totals for Fila, but what a surprising first round it was for FBK. Talk about Antonio Mann, 7 goals in 6 games. It's often very difficult to predict what you're going to see from the FBK lineup.
Absolutely. And especially like in the past, teams were able to sort of, if you want to prevent this, FBK from scoring, you try to key in on Afe now. And that was a bit easier to do last season. Antonio was more of the playmaker. He was throughout the course of this season as well, but he keeps adding these elements to his game as a forward. He keeps developing as a forward. And here he is, 7 goals in 6 games. So you can no longer just be like, all right, try to shut down Afe. Antonio is out there and he's looking extremely dangerous. Now, that being said, of course, playmaker Eki, two of possibly the best wingers. I mean, this is just going to be a very, very interesting head-to-head to look at.
Absolutely. And the head-to-head directly there in terms of the interviews we heard from Eki, we're also going to be able to hear from Antonio. Let's hand it back over to Connor.
Thanks again, Tuggy and Sin. We're now back in the interview booth with another right wing, and Antonio, this time from Färjestad. And, well, let's just get straight into it. Färjestad's de-pairing this season, Antonio, has certainly been a bright spot for your team, at least from the outside looking in with their point totals. As a teammate of theirs, what have they brought to the team that kind of sets them apart from everyone else?
I feel like they bring security, like offensively, mostly. Like they always do the right decisions with the puck in the offensive zone. They take a lot of shots, which is good, I think. And I don't know, it's a lot to do with routine and like how they cooperate on the ice together. Like they talk a lot with what they are gonna do better and so on, and that shows on the ice.
I mean, just as playing with Alpha Furin in the past, I imagine he's been quite passionate in the party. Has that kind of helped in the close games so far?
Yeah, he's probably one of the more passionate guys when we score a goal or we do some good plays and so on. Like, I feel like that is the most important thing in a team. Like, if you're having a rough game or it's like a rough time in the season, that you try to keep it as chill as possible in the party and just joke around and stuff like that. And he's very good with keeping the humor up in the dressing room.
Yeah, I'm sure his cat Achilles has made quite an appearance so far.
Achilles, love him.
Well, much has been made about Färjestad's play. I think both of us can agree that at times it's been a bit divisive, shall we say, with your play style. But that said, as more and more games have passed and you've found your rhythm, it kind of seems like you as a team have become more and more flexible in the way you approach games. What, or even who, do you think has been the driving force behind this change?
I feel like it's everybody mostly. Like, we still have our place that we can rely on when we're having a tough patch in the season or something. But like it's mostly everyone talking about how we need to be more unpredictable and so on, so we can get those easy chances. Because we have known that we could be predictable at times when we don't feel like we're playing good. So just everybody has had their opinion on how we are gonna change it and so on.
Okay. Well, naturally, going into this series, I assume that you and everyone else in Färjestad believes that you can take down Philadelphia. If you could, though, how do you think this series will go, and have you made any specific tweaks in the lead up to this series that you believe will give you an edge?
I feel like it's not to do with, especially against Philadelphia. Like, I don't think it's special plays and tweaks in our gameplay that needs to be made. Like, we just need to go out and have fun. They have all the pressure on them. They are the favorites to win the ECL. Like, we are a top 4, top 5 team. We have no pressure to win this series on our shoulders. We are just gonna go out and have fun and play our game.
Just keep it like you said before, with the whole party atmosphere. Okay.
Yeah, keep it easy, like joke around.
Well, I think that's all the questions we have. Unless you'd like to say something quickly.
It's gonna be exciting to play. Very fun. Excited to get going.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be exciting to watch, that's for sure. But I guess otherwise then, thank you for doing this. Good luck in your series later on, and we'll pass it straight back to Tugginson in the studio.
All right, Sin, so there we go. We hear from yet another member of this matchup here that'll kick off this broadcast. Again, the first 2 games of this best of 7 between our defending champions of Philadelphia and Färjestad, beginning in just a few moments. But Sin, ultimately, hearing there from Antonio Mann, he's got a fair point. The pressure really does lie on the shoulders of Philadelphia in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty nice to kind of go into a series sometimes, just kind of light and easy and just be like, all right, well, see what works, see what we can do here, but there's no real added pressure on you to come away with the W. So the leading goal scorer, Antonio Mann on FBK, I mean, feeling pretty light. We'll see how he's going to be able to carry over his success earlier on in that first round into this season. Series.
And there you go. It's all good. So we take a look at the defense here now, as well as we round out these matchups. And of course, you heard a decent amount about Lehmanen's Fury on there as well. Against Teemu and Loimu, of course, who, Eki had mentioned the addition of Teemu, the play style that he likes to implement, very comparable to Jay Toro upon his departure. And since you look at these 4 in a good generalization, so that they can all put up points at pretty much every possible moment. They are that involved in these teams' offensive identities.
Yeah, and that's very important to have those defensemen providing that kind of threats. Teemu may not have the points yet, but the 2 goals already, that matches, what Furion has on the other side. So again, it's just the threats from everywhere, and you have to be aware of where all these guys are on the ice at all times. Very even matchup on the defensive end of things.
Of course, last but not least, our final head-to-head. It is the battle of the netminders here, and this is perhaps the most important head-to-head that we have. Kape on the right, last year's team-voted playoff MVP, arguably the best goaltender in the ECL Elites, in the history of an NHL gamer, and arguably the best goaltender in the world right now in competitive sixes, going up against McSavid, who has been able to stake his claim as being amongst the best of the best, Sin. But this series really is his time to shine and to prove that he is, without any discussion, one of the best.
Yeah, and this is the ultimate test, so to speak, here. I mean, you're going up against Philadelphia, the reigning champs right now, and you have a tough task on your shoulders, a very good offensive and defensive team, but it's going to come down to McSavid in a lot of cases to make those huge saves when they really need them, when they get hemmed in. Can he, kind of go on a run where he makes a few saves, and then Färjestad can sort of feed that counter attack. So that's what I'll be really looking for out of him in this series, is some of those big saves at the right moments.
Sin, as we always do here, we are just a few moments away from puck drop. We have our 3 keys to success for each side. We'll start off with FBK and what they need to look to do here today. What are the 3 main talking points for them heading into this opening 2 games of this series?
Well, the first one here is going to be controlled chaos. It's kind of a good way to describe their offensive style this season. They kind of throw everything at the wall. They like the off-angle shots, point shots, deflection bids, low shots for rebounds, and of course, don't forget their insane stretch passes and counterattacks. They'll test you at every opportunity, and will that be able to work against the defending champs? I mean, only time will tell. Second point here being is, can you take the heat? Furion and Lemonins, 2 of the league's best. Their fellow players have taken notice if they haven't already, but this is their biggest challenge, dealing with that relentless forechecking pressure of Philadelphia. Can these strong puck-moving defensemen get the puck out of the zone early consistently, or will they kind of struggle with that regard, forcing Färjestad to play out of their own end a bit more carefully? The third and final point here is make or break. We talked about it a little bit. We're going to talk about it again. McSavid leading the league in save percentage last season. Perhaps, getting disrespected a bit in the goalie season voting, but this is your chance to prove everyone wrong. You want to be viewed as a top goalie? This is the series that you make your name.
And Sin, for our defending champions, it's tough for us as outsiders from this perspective to say, hey, here's 3 things you need to look for, 3 things that can help you win a series. I don't think they need any input as defending champions to know what they have to do. But for Philadelphia in this series, what stands out?
Well, we got to say something or else we'd have nothing to talk about these guys. It's strike early and often. Now, you've already lost more games this postseason than of all of last season's championship run. I mean, it's not much. It's just, the one extra, but, any bit of extra confidence that you could give to the other team can be dangerous. We talk about how big the mental game is here. It's, definitely big here. And now Philadelphia doesn't necessarily have that aura of near invincibility about them. The second point here is to stop the transition. We know Philadelphia loves to get their defense involved offensively, but as always with Färjestad, you're going to have to watch out for those quick counterattacks. Afe leaving that zone early. Got to have someone back with him nearly at all times. Can they do both at the same time? They're going to need to, I think, in this matchup. And third, final point here, of course, Kape's conquest. Last year's playoff MVP, the front runner from goalie of the year this season, and so far leading the playoffs in save percentage as well. He just seems to be getting better and better. For every single season, we're going to need to see the very, very best out of him because Färjestad is a very potent offensive club.
Absolutely. So again, everybody, we are just a few moments away from puck drop. Game 1, Philadelphia against Färjestad, the opening game of our Final Four. It's been a long time coming here. Again, a 30-game regular season, quarterfinals being played last week as well. And again, a friendly reminder, NHLgamer.com, not only for everything going on with the elite division, but playoffs going on as well in our lower divisions. If I'm not mistaken, our second highest tier, our pro division, also in the Final Four stage now of the postseason. I believe we have a write-up on the website that just went live recently from one of the members of our community there as well. So feel free to check that out. And of course, we might as well, as we typically do, be able to cover some of those finals as well. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're following the channel if you haven't already. And of course, NHL Gamer on pretty much any and every social app that is out there. Sin, I mean, at this point, you heard it from Antonio Manning himself. The pressure on Philadelphia to succeed. What do you think we see from FBK in this one? Mainly through those opening 10 minutes. Do you think we're going to see more of that slow-paced neutral zone style, or are these teams just going to go for it right out of the gates?
I think that they're going to more so go for it out of the gates. But that being said, now that we've kind of predicted that, we may in fact see that defensive battle early on. It seems like what we think may happen this season, the opposite seems to happen. So it's kind of, a toss-up here. I feel like both of these teams, have those great transition games and, good offensive pressure when they're able to dictate the pace. So you'd like to see things perhaps open up from the beginning. But again, there's a lot sort of on the line here as we do get a look at the player camp. People feeling light and easy. Kape with that 99 locker room presence as always, getting the boys fired up, keeping them loose. And Afe as well. I mean, this is just
how I wish we had audio.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my only regret here. But it's good to kind of get that window into sort of the team's mental states, if you will. Kind of Philadelphia always kind of more light and easy, and it's This is going to be a great series, and it's cool to get this a glimpse into their personalities coming out here.
Smiles on both sides of the ice here, but how long can that possibly last? The semifinal underway here in the Elite Division. Game 1 in this best of 7, and a near turnover there. It's Playmaker making a strong case against the defense early on, but McSavid very well aware here through the opening probably 15 seconds of the game.
Yeah, and right there, are they going to be able to take that heat? Early aggression coming out from Philadelphia here, so gonna have to be a bit more careful here on this breakout. As you can see, Eki and Playmaker lurking there, looking for any sort of weakness to force a turnover.
It's the incredible pressure that's applied in all 3 zones by those Philadelphia front 3. See Eki getting right back in. He's wearing the golden helmet, his team's leading playoff scorer. Of course, on the flip side there, you saw it was Mullen as well. Captain of the team, right down the middle there, the center. Also rocking that golden helmet. Keep an eye out for those two. But again, as we talked about in the pregame, all 10 active skaters on the ice, more than capable of putting up points offensively. As Playmaker has it down low. Dishes back to the point, and again, back down low. Those quick changes. Loose puck. Held in at the blue line by Teemu. Unpressured for the most part. Potzloff has it now, goes around the back. Eki looking for the wraparound and nearly caught McSavidson. Looked like there was an opening.
There absolutely was an opening right there. Tried to capitalize on it. McSavid getting back just in time. Maybe a bit of trouble on the side of the net. Eki had to deal with there, but Philadelphia getting some zone pressure very early on, looking like a great, oh man, they almost had another one there. It was a good face-off attempt, but couldn't quite get the pickup.
As Afe goes through, draws the trip. No penalty shot. The puck died on the line. Looked like it glitched through the post, but regardless, Loimu will take a seat. And it can happen that fast for FBK to generate offense.
Absolutely, and that's huge for them. Kind of a momentum shift back in their favor. We're going to see one of the best power plays getting to work. See there, Teemu not wanting to take any chances, trying to get the quick clear and in on the forecheck as well. Playmaker creating some havoc.
And a penalty called as well, so the man advantage doesn't last long. Furion called for a trip in response. Sin, you mentioned it. It was the regular season's best power play in FBK against the best PK. They cancel each other out there. We'll have 1:28 of 4-on-4 action here. Playmaker with possession here off of the opening draw. Able to find Eki. Great movement, but no shot. That one broken up. It's FBK back in control. Playmaker, very active stick. In on the attack. Not able to jostle Antonio Manning off of the puck. Stretch pass there. Mullen able to recover. Risky pass, but they still have it. That one nearly intercepted by Potzloff. Space here, perhaps. Lehmanens can't get that shot through. And a rush here. Potzloff, a little bit of space. We'll have an abbreviated power play for Philadelphia here. 25 seconds on the clock. As Mullen will drop back. Tail descended all the way down, though. Perhaps a costly mistake, but Philadelphia can't take advantage. They're offside with 7 seconds to go on this power play.
Yeah, so I know Färjestad mentioning, no pressure is on them, but I can't help but feel like some of the play coming out is a little bit of nerves here, or just don't have enough time and space.
And the extra bit of movement, puck knocked loose, and we are back to 5-on-5. Furion having trouble getting rid of it. Playmaker pass in front is recovered by FBK, and again, tremendous work from Eki on the back check. How do you deal with that? FBK have a series to try and figure it out as a big stop there from McSavid on a point-blank opportunity. Trying to send it back down the other way, but again, completely stifled at the blue line. Eki tried to go back. Shot deflects wide. Teemu's attempt there, and Loimu can't corral that bullet pass. Goes all the way back down the other way as Kape getting a little bit of yoga. A little bit of yoga work in down there. Got to stay loose, got to stay limber. Another offside call there for Philadelphia. Sin, just kind of the nature of the beast when you have to work the puck around that quickly to find lanes.
Yeah, and it's, that's what we're kind of seeing. To gain the line, it takes a bit of work, but once Philadelphia have it, they really don't want to give it up. Even if the puck goes to those Färjestad skaters, the defensive skill sticks being used in the offensive zone and neutral zone by Playmaker and Eki so far have just been absolutely near perfect. I mean, they're deflecting passes, they're forcing turnovers. I mean, almost everything right now seems to be contested.
Playmaker has it here. He's bumped off the puck. We have seen the evolution of this Philadelphia lineup over the past few seasons that Sin and I have been here, from a team that was determined to run up the score as high as they could to becoming this defensive two-way giant that you see in front of your very eyes now. But here's space for Mullen. He'll take his time, fending off pressure. Slot. Again, back down the boards. Lehmanen's at the point. Finds Mullen, knocked loose. Space down the other way. This pass will be on net. And successfully sent out by McSavid. 1:40 to go here in this first period. Puck bouncing around there. FBK in control. Mullen forced to protect at the line. Afe couldn't hold. It's another offside call.
Yeah, and that's just what it comes down to. That's why gap control is so important as defensemen. If you want to try to gain that line, you're not going to be able to do so cleanly. And, that's kind of putting like some of the apprehension and fear right there, and what forced that offside. He maybe had a little bit more space than he realized, but it's just what Philadelphia has done so far with their sticks, with their bodies, to hold the line, to pressure him in the neutral zone. You feel like you don't have enough time and space, and that's just as important as taking away that time and space, getting your opponent off their game mentally.
7 seconds here. The toe drag from Mullen, holds on to it, finds Furion. It's knocked loose at the line. So a goalless opening frame to game number 1. It's in just 2 registered shots on target, both in favor of Philadelphia.
You got a brief glimpse right there of that Eki wraparound there. As you can see, McDavid was caught, but fortunately it moved over just enough for it to hit his pads. The couple penalties, it just doesn't seem like, Färjestad maybe, getting a bit of a momentum shift. They take that other penalty, and it came from Potzloff and Playmaker playing super aggressive down low on the penalty kill, which is a bit surprising, but it seems like that's what Philadelphia's bread and butter has been a lot throughout the season, but it really seems like they're targeting Färjestad as well with that. Maybe you can crank it up a bit more, especially, like I said, on the penalty kill there. And, it worked out. They were able to force Färjestad to take a penalty right there, and we'll see what happens. Färjestad got to be feeling a bit fortunate to get out of that period unscathed here in Philadelphia. They're going to have to capitalize on their chances because, Färjestad, they've got one of those quick transition goals waiting in the weeds.
Very pesky. Will make you pay for any mistake. Describes both teams. All things considered, as Lehman is still trying to hold on to that one. Can't do so. Eki able to take it away and gets the pass back. Middle of the ice, tried to fire one on, blocked down in front once more. Let's see what FBK can do, and again, just so little space. They try to cross the blue line. Eki has it here. Good movement, and Playmaker just couldn't get that shot off. Great positioning from Furion. Getting more aggressive now, but space at the point. One-timer, rebound there, still swinging away at it. And it kicks out into the slot. FBK, again, able to survive some danger, a bounce here or there. Villa would have had the opening goal as Eki gets absolutely floored. Said Furion was picking up the physical play. That was a primary example as the quick out's denied by the skate of Playmaker. The Philadelphia back in control here, but again, Stan, it makes you wonder. I actually don't have that information as to whether or not Philadelphia got a decent amount of warm-up games in there, perhaps. We know teams often like to play warm-up games, but there's a little bit of miscommunication here at the blue line for Phila.
Yeah, and, bit of credit has to go to Färjestad. They are doing a pretty good job considering, the team they're going up against at holding that line right there. Yeah, it was Plee trying to, perhaps enter that zone with a pass coming. That time they do pull it off.
Eki cuts in, shoveled a backhand on net. And Philadelphia are defending champions. If you ask anybody in the European scene, for the most part, you will hear that they have the claim for being best in the world. We know certain North American clubs would say otherwise. Maybe even certain clubs elsewhere as well. But still, you're watching one of the world's best go to work against another top-notch team in FBK. And so far, this battle of irresistible force, a movable object, we've yet to find a breakthrough as Kape makes that one look easy.
Yeah, I like that decision-making from Mullen. Maybe could have tried, a saucer over there to Antonio, but instead opted to go for a low shot, perhaps hoping for a rebound. for the defenseman cutting in, which was, I believe that was Lehmanen's.
One timer deflects off the skate in front there. Not to cut you off, Sim, but a very quick chance. Developing off of that face-off for FBK. Space here now for Teemu. That pass off the mark. Fila will look to reset.
I like that coming up from Färjestad, though. Again, just take the chances you're giving off the face-off, anything. Test, Kappe. You got to put some shots on him.
Absolutely. Chance here now for Fila, though. Back in the attacking zone. Plenty of space around the point to work with. The heavy collapse for FBK. Playmaker in the corner. Tried to get with Eki. He scores! And that's all it takes in just a little bit of space. Eki able to tap that one in. And worst case scenario for FBK is Philadelphia have the opening goal of game number 1.
Yeah, and you can almost sort of feel that coming eventually as it was the pass over. Initially, I thought it may have just bounced off someone and in, but it was Eki, getting that sort of tap in there. And, perhaps McSavid sort of trying to adjust to the more of the cross crease in that scenario. That being said, I mean, that's just such a tough play to defend against if you're Färjestad. An in-tight pass, a hard pass that he's able to get his stick on. Not a whole lot that McSavid could do in that scenario, except for perhaps preemptively just go into that butterfly. But that takes away so many other options for him as the goaltender. So Philadelphia now up 1-0, and all the pressure now on Färjestad, because this is where Philadelphia want to be. Their aggression's going to crank up. The second you think you're going to try to get out of that zone with an extra forward, they're going to send another forechecker and force that turnover.
Then it wouldn't be a chat here with North Americans there without me trying to stoke the flames of a never-ending debate. So I apologize, Kenny, for any problems I may have caused, but I just couldn't help myself, as we'll have a face-off here in the Philadelphia attacking zone now. 8-5 the advantages right now for FBK. Make that 8-6, and we'll see what Phil is able to do here on the attack after getting the opening goal. And Eki swing at that one. Huge hit there, and a penalty is called. I presume it'll be a charge, and it won't be. Interesting enough. So that's a weak call in my opinion, and as a result, Afe will take a seat. Let's get another look at this one. I mean, he did launch him, but didn't look like it was to the numbers. Boarding call there. Yeah. Regardless, big power play for Phila.
Huge power play, and that's pretty unfortunate.
Ooh, good movement there. Play just not coming to fruition. Big moment here for FBK. Can they kill this off? Regular season. Färjestad with the 4th best PK. One-timer and a blocker save. It was Phila, though, who actually struggled on the power play. We're in the bottom half of the league. Deflection bid there for Eki. He was on the doorstep. Great looks for Philadelphia. And what a keep in there by Teemu. 40 seconds to go on the man advantage. Can they take advantage of that incredible keep? Stopped by McSavid and covered as he got a right leg to it.
Well, McSavid is for sure getting a workout, coming up with some pretty massive saves so far. Perhaps none bigger than that blocker save off of the one-timer. Färjestad got to relieve the pressure here. Big face-off.
Off the draw, puck poked loose for the moment, at least sent out of the zone from Lehmanen's there, but Phila right back in on the attack, only for the moment. A big break there and went back to 5-on-5. Final 20 seconds of the period, though. And FBK makes something happen, still looking for their opening goal. 4 seconds here, Afe not able to hold on to it, and the time will expire. So we do get our opening goal midway through the second period. Philadelphia up 1-0, and Sin, the numbers incredibly one-sided.
Yeah, this is once Philadelphia kind of get that lead, they start to snowball. It's an interesting thing. A lot of teams seemingly get more defensive as they get leads, but with Philadelphia, as we say often, if they have that lead, they almost seem to get more aggressive because they allow their opponents to play into them. They realize that they're going to have to, take some more chances here, and that's exactly what Philadelphia want you to do. They want you to send someone out of that zone a bit earlier. They want you to try to perhaps, move that puck a bit more quickly out of the zone without kind of, taking the extra split second to look. Playmaker, Patslov, Eki, they will get incredibly aggressive on that forecheck, keep the puck in, and hem you into your zone.
Here we go. We talk about adjustments that need to be made throughout the course of a 7-game series. Let's see what FBK can do. Again, a friendly reminder, game 2 of this series coming up in just a matter of moments. And we'll also have the first 2 games of our other semifinal. It is a rematch from last postseason as former champions HAVU take on hREDS. Don't go anywhere for that. Of course, ECL Elite Division action here in the postseason. Brought to you by our friends at Philhelm, Kovalon Lakritsi, and via play as Philadelphia trying to throw that one on. Good look from Loimo, had a chance to be deflected, but here's Mullen now for FBK. Pass across and they score! And it can happen that quickly, out of nowhere. It's Antonio Mannon, his 8th of the postseason. And we're tied at 1.
Just an excellent play right there. And I believe it was Loimu going down into that LB or L1, I should say. Didn't quite have the stick positioning he needed. I'm not too sure. I believe that was not by design. Didn't have a chance to sort of adjust that, though. I'm not too sure if he would have gotten a huge piece of the pass regardless. But Antonio Mannon, I mean, just keeping up his insane goal scoring pace. He said it. That's 8 so far in this postseason. A huge response that Färjestad needs, relieving some of the pressure, tying this game up at least. Now we'll see if they perhaps can give Philadelphia a bit of their own medicine, get some more zone time. But if not, again, we mentioned it, that transition game, that quick attack presence of Färjestad, always a threat. They capitalize on that one.
30-game regular season for Antonio Mannon. 14 goals as that one hammered just wide. 14 goals in that full 30-game regular season for Antonio Mannon. He now has 8 in 7 games. So you never quite know who's going to step up to be a big-time playoff performer. Antonio right now getting the job done. He has the puck here, is able to find Afe. He drops back. Good movement. Antonio Mannon again throws one on, and a kick stop by Kape. 12 minutes to go here in regulation, now tied at 1. The battle of the right wingers as Eki and Antonio Mannon, the goal scorers for their respective teams. Here's Playmaker, pass to Potsloff, he scores! It looked as though he fanned on the shot, a changeup and away. Catches McSavid off guard, and worst case scenario, Potsloff gets the goal. Philip back up by 1.
Yeah, that is just extremely unfortunate for Färjestad. It's not like they were defending that rush poorly by any means, but just enough space for him to get that shot off. And yeah, you said it, maybe a bit of a changeup, kind of throwing off McSavid. That being said, I mean, McSavid more prone to sliding than many other goaltenders. Oh, Färjestad, though, trying for a quick response of their own. Well defended, though, by Philadelphia. Get the aggression, though.
Chance there, just off the mark. Afe couldn't get a piece of that one. Good movement here again. Mullen has it knocked loose. See how FBK respond. Incredible pressure as always from Playmaker and Eki. Eki along the half wall. Looking at his options. Fending off the pressure. Puck intercepted. Nearly recovered. Loose puck scores! A heartbreaker for FBK as Playmaker has a goal gift wrapped to him. It's 3-1. in favor of Philadelphia.
Yeah, and that's, again, yeah, heartbreaker's the right kind of word for that right there, as that was, again, sort of a loose puck that found itself in a dangerous position, and that's what the aggression of Philadelphia can do. You pressure so much, you put defensemen into situations they don't want to be.
And they get another one, Philadelphia. 3 unanswered goals, and they are running away with it. It's Potsloff again.
Oh boy, good to be lucky, lucky to be good has perhaps never been a more apt phrase. And if you're the defenseman of Färjestad, you're got to be wondering, when the heck do we catch a break? You get that, sort of loose puck off your goaltender's bubble, we'll say, and then that one, as you're trying to cover the one-timer, the saucer pass bounces off your leg and just into the goal right there. But again, pucks and bodies to net, good things can happen, and they're happening right now for Philadelphia. 4-1, under 10 minutes remaining here in the third period. It's tough to see the way this game's gone. Färjestad getting back in this one.
A chance here, shot just wide as Playmaker nearly picked the corner. Doesn't seem all that long ago that this was a 1-all game, and out of nowhere, Phila add 3 more. Huge hit, loose puck, down and out as McSavid. He keeps it out of the net. 6 minutes to play here now. Chance for FPK down the other way. Loose puck defended well. Still bouncing around as Eki's able to carry that one out. And the big windmill with speed. They're backing on the attack. Playmaker spin shot. Looked like maybe the pass as well. Thought he had a second swipe at it. Just a heartbreaker for Färjestad here in this one. But ultimately, Philadelphia comes out in the wash. They've been the better team in this one. Maybe not a 4-1 scoreline better, but it's tough to argue with the outcome that we're 3 minutes away from getting here, Sim. Chance here. Playmaker backhand shoveled on. Save it will play it out. And you might as well with under 3 to go. Zafe takes the hit. Here's Lehman and can't sauce that through the traffic. And that'll pretty much do it for this one. I mean, again, a minute and a half now. The pace slowing down a little bit. But for the moment, it's Teemu on the back for Eki. Looking at his options. Playmaker tried to find Potzloff. Big interception for Antonio Mann. You can tell the gas tank's a little bit empty. Not a ton of speed going down the other way. As Mullen walks right into Potzloff. 45 to go now. And Sin, all eyes already on game number 2 because that is one of the more back-breaking losses I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and you can see the frustration coming out from Mullen on that last play as he tried to sort of move, maybe make a pass through. You can see him kind of holding that backhand. It got stripped away, and we've seen that a couple times from Mullen. Maybe decision making just a step too late, and it's easy to say from up here when you're taking on a team like Philadelphia. They're going to make have zero time right there, but you kind of saw him dive right there. That kind of speaks to the mentality of Färjestad after a game like this where they didn't play as well as they wanted to. They got hemmed in probably way more often than they wanted to. They weren't able to get the transition game going. When they did gain the zone, they had not enough time or, didn't make their decisions quick enough. And, just kind of a worst case scenario game for Färjestad. They're going to want to definitely dust themselves off after this one and try to reset for this game too.
17 seconds to go here. Let's see if there's one more goal to be added to the final tally. As Playmaker holding on to the puck, killing all the time, draws a call, point blank chance for Potzloff's denied. That one's off the ankle, and that will do it. Philadelphia with a much-deserved Game 1 victory, but still obviously sitting that sense of heartbreak for FBK as within an instant. Close game, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, it can turn that quickly at the drop of a hat right there, and that's the danger of really any game, but especially against Philadelphia when your chances really are going to be few and far between. You want to try to make the most out of them and really try to limit the damage. And with some of those bounces going in, that's rough for Färjestad. I mean, you get into a scenario multi-goal deficit where it's different. It's just different playing into a multi-goal deficit. Your mind it's a completely different mentality than just say a 1-goal game. It kind of almost, especially late there and against a team like Philadelphia, almost maybe seeming hopeless on a subconscious level, and that can definitely alter the way you sort of play and the way you sort of position yourself on the ice right there. And it's a tough break for McSavid, who early on was making key saves, exactly what we wanted out of him, exactly what we perhaps expected out of him, and a bit of misfortune throughout the way. I mean, that goal right there, again, not bad positioning, trickles through the 5-hole. The one on Eki, not terrible positioning, was maybe over sliding, but where the shot was taking, he was kind of there. And of course, what can you do against those bounces right there? So again, Philadelphia outplayed it. Scoreline may be a bit skewed, but the numbers right there don't exactly lie. Only 3 registered shots throughout the course of the game for Färjestad, simply not going to be enough. The zone time that they had, they didn't do enough with it. Philadelphia was able to sort of compound their pressure and make it snowball, as we so often see them do. When they get those lead, they continue to snowball. Their aggression seems to get more and more intense without actually getting more aggressive on the ice. It may sort of seem like a contradiction, but when you have to play into Philadelphia, that's where they burn you, because their neutral zone play is fantastic. Their blue line trap is fantastic. Their forecheck from Playmaker and Eki, ever so dangerous. I mean, Eki, hailed as perhaps, one of the best defensive players as a winger, mostly coming from his ones experience and, the championship that he just took, once again on the Euro side of things. So this is a star-studded roster that you're playing into if you're Färjestad, and, a tough kind of way to end that Game 1. But they did get outplayed. They're going to have to find something, some way to respond here into that aggression.
Absolutely. So again, game 1 in the books. Game 2 coming up in just a matter of moments. We'll set the stage for you when we come back from this quick word from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere.
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, everybody, we are back and ready to go. Again, game 2 in this series coming up in just a few moments. And again, friendly reminder for those of you just joining us, these are only our first 2 games of this broadcast. We will have the first 2 games of our other semifinal matchup between HAVU and hREDS, a rematch of a phenomenal series last postseason. We'll see those 2 Titans go head-to-head once more. Now, Sin, as we get ready, though, for our second game here between Philadelphia and Färjestad, we're going to take a look back at the action from game number 1. I'm very intrigued to see, of course, your thoughts here as we see this play out, because, again, Philadelphia controlled the majority of this game, but ultimately, I guess you'd kind of expect, right? It was some gritty goals that ultimately got them to where they wanted to be and got them that win.
Yeah, and it's not like they didn't necessarily earn those goals right there, as you saw the response from Färjestad there, and that's what really sort of set them to get closer in this. But again, they're going to good positions. You saw Potsoff right there. Look what he does. Stops a little bit sooner than you normally would if you're going for that far side post. That created the tiniest bit of space to allow them to get that shot. That scenario right there, again, it's a bad bounce, sure, but it's the pressure from Philadelphia that comes out. And what do they do after that? Right off the face-off, the transition coming, trying to force it across. Again, it's where you're taking these shots, where you're taking these pucks, and that's towards the net right there. And if you're putting pucks and bodies to the net, you will get rewarded, whether it's by a goal that you're able to shoot in or a bounce that goes in. You have to get that puck towards the net, and that's what Philadelphia did. So perhaps the way their goals were scored, people might look at it and be like, oh, did they necessarily deserve them? Look at the time on attack. Look at the shots. Look at the way they're able to hem in Färjestad. Yes, they perhaps deserve those goals, and maybe in some different ways, but it kind of remains. They were the better team. They did get rewarded, and they got rewarded by putting those pucks on net, that's where it needs to go. The high quality, pretty chances are all well and good, but at the end of the day, the way you score is getting that puck to the net.
3 goals in under 4 minutes of game time, and almost impossibly a fast amount of conversions there to take advantage of some fortunate bounces, some opportunities that presented themselves. I want to shout out Estor, by the way, keeping track of one of our pro semifinals currently going on as well. Again, those games very important to see not only who will earn promotion to our elite division next season, but the relegation battles as well, the promotion battles that we might indeed see a little bit later on. But Sin, again, talking about this game now and what has to happen next for Philadelphia, it wasn't your best game in terms of the chances that you generated. You saw it there from the replays. Call them some lucky goals. You got to be in the right position to take advantage of those chances. But for them, talking about adjustments, certainly not as many to make, perhaps, aside from maybe cleaning up some of the offsides, of course, that started to plague their game through the midway point of that first contest. But for FBK, I mean, right now, they talked about in the pregame the pressure it's on Philadelphia, but a lot of pressure on them right now in terms of the mentality side of the game to be able to shrug that one off and move on. Easier said than done.
Yeah, it may not be, the pre-matchup pressure, the pressure expected to take the series, but when you play Philadelphia, you have to be feeling pressure because they force it upon you. Again, the deadly forecheck, their neutral zone presence, they're constantly, Playmaker and Eki are trying to force turnovers, whether it's on the forecheck or on the back check. I mean, it's just incredible what they're able to do. They're always seeming to find themselves around the puck carrier, limiting what you want to do, and a lot of time and space being taken away. And that's for Färjestad. They weren't able to find a good enough answer for that throughout that first game. And I'd be hard pressed for them to really find, an easy way. There's not going to be any sort of easy answer. It's going to take, a bit of luck, at times. But I would like to see, I didn't see a lot of Afe trying to exit the zone a bit early. Maybe it's a bit too defensively minded for Färjestad. It seems like they stepped outside of their game a bit too much to try to neutralize Philadelphia. And in that, they removed that threat of those long stretch passes that they love to utilize. So perhaps we'll see Afe kind of, streaking up the ice a few more times, trying to at least catch, Teemu and Loimu off guard, try to open something up.
I mean, it's a really tough argument, right? When you're taking on Philadelphia, the idea of sticking to your game plan, but if your game plan relies on taking chances defensively, that's what Philadelphia could take advantage of. I mean, you saw how defensively responsible FBK were trying to be with that super heavy collapse, and still those chances presented themselves for Philadelphia. So, imagine now you're FBK and you're trying to get those quick outs for your wingers. How much more space is going to be there for Philadelphia? It's a constantly changing situation, Sin, where I think if the space is there, you go for it. But how often is the space going to be there? That is the conundrum that teams face when they take on Philadelphia. Every move you try to make, they seem to have an answer for it. And we will see here in just a few moments in Game 2 if FBK have a response, as you get a look there at the teams once more. Kape looking rather stoic compared to how he was before game number 1. But, Sin, I mean, it's tough, right, to be able to get a read on the teams and on the players in terms of how a lot of these guys are feeling. But, very, very intrigued to see, of course, how this one ultimately plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a huge moment for Färjestad in this game too. You're going to have to try something, maybe try to go out of the box just a little bit, because we know Philadelphia, they're feeling good after that victory, and they're going to want to continue that success rate here in a game 2.
So game 2 underway here, as you see in the top right-hand side of your screen. As with all of our broadcasts, of course, the series length, what game it is, and of course the 1-0 lead for Philadelphia here early on in this series. FBK, the home team in this one, of course, in the green and in the attacking zone early on. Around the back to Mullen. Still team's leading scorer after that first game. Picked up an assist on their lone goal. Loose puck recovered by Phillip. See what they can do on their first bit of offense. Looking to go down the other way. The answer is not much. Let's see what Afe can do. And again, a quick response from the defense. Here's Playmaker. He shrugged off. Loose puck. Still up for grabs now along the half wall. And Lehmanens. Quick feed. Trying to slow this down. Look at that forecheck pressure. Loimu getting involved. Potzloff covered for him. Nowhere to go on the breakouts. One-timer. Big glove stop there by McSaven. A reaction stop. Second chance doesn't go as well. That one may have clipped the blocker. Look at the movement here from Philadelphia. This is bad situation for FBK right now. Playmaker. Shot deflected just wide. Still in the attacking zone for Philadelphia. Finally, Färjestad get a piece of it, and a trip is called. A bit too much aggression there from Eki. And a huge chance now to try and change this momentum early on for the first 7 minutes.
Yeah, and Färjestad, very fortunate right there. If that would have been a turnover, that could have ended in disaster here. But they have a chance again on the power play. Hopefully they can sort of prevent that aggression coming out from Philadelphia as well.
And here we go. Again, the league's best power play in the regular season goes to work. And one power play in game number 1, and they took a trip. Turnover here, knocked loose. Lehmanens keeps it in, looking and tried to pick the corner, but Kape is all over that one.
I like to see that coming in from Lehmanens here in Färjestad. They want to try to get into that middle, but I think they're going to have to do what Philadelphia was doing and sort of work the outside a bit more. Get pucks and bodies moving. See if you can't move them out of position.
Off the post and held out by Kape. He does not know the bounds of your mortal steel as he is able to cut through the post there to be able to keep that one out. Very close call off the odd angle shot. Still in the attacking zone here, though. Lehmanens, good patience. Loose puck in front, sent out to the half wall. 40 seconds to go on the power play now. Mullen able to weave his way through. Pass off the mark, and that's a mistake that just can't be made.
Yeah, unfortunately for Mullen, he's had a bit of a rough go here in this matchup so far. Not able to connect.
Loose puck in front was picked off. That pass, Eki's out of the box. Has a step breakaway, knocked loose by the flying poke check. of McSaven. Good heads-up play there. Huge hit takes down Antonio, so a man short here for FBK. Mullen, great job to win it back. Again, short side shot off the side of the net. Already halfway through this first period. Here's Playmaker back for Eki. Back to Playmaker! What a stop by McSaven! Remember that one as this game goes on.
That was an enormous stop right there with the slide over to take away the glove side as Playmaker was looking for an excellent passing job off of that rush as well. And he was able to, I think that was Eki getting around Antonio there, who was back playing defense, got caught a bit flat-footed at the line, which created a bit of a late odd man there and almost capitalizing on it, but huge stop coming out from McSaven.
7 minutes to go here in this opening frame. Playmaker tried to find Potzloff. Great interception. FBK trying to get something going down the other way. Afe in front. Lehman has nearly found it as Antonio shovels it off the side, and the short side shot from Afe. Just wide once more. A lot more attempts here offensively. One-timer deflection stop by Kape. Big save there with the traffic in front. Much better from FBK here in this first period. Again, at a moment's notice, tides can change. Villa looking for one chance. It's all they need. Potzloff recovers on the half wall, sends it down low. Playmaker holding on to it, circles back. Short side shot doesn't go. But a chance here for Reki. Back to the point. And again, incredibly quick changes in the levels of the attack. Tamo deflected and a stop by McSaven. Great positioning for the FBK netminder. But again, Phil getting a lot of attacking time, and they score. It's Potzloff again. The captain has come to play tonight. And it's Philadelphia who get the opening goal.
I mean, just too much zone time, and they just kept getting those loose pucks back. Their cycle was on point, and, you know, their passing really complimentary. It just, so much of that comes down to positioning, and it's such an underrated kind of talent to know where you need to be at all times and feed off of each other and be able to just sort of pass knowing someone's going to be there.
Final minute of play here in the first. Similar situation to game one with Villa getting the opening goal. They're looking for another one here, though. Playmaker just off the mark. That one deflects wide. 6 seconds now. Teemu can't get the shot off. Eki fighting for it. Furion has it. Loses it. Eki can't get that one on as time expires. Philadelphia, the 1-0 lead, getting the goal in the first period that they could not find last time out. It was much better from FBK with the 5 shots, but Sin, like you mentioned, the difference this time in the game, Philadelphia had more sustained attacking pressure in game one. This time, though, it was more spurts of possession, but they make the most of those chances, even if it's not a consistent threat in your attacking zone.
Yeah, and that was just, again, picture-perfect cycle down low, and especially being able to get to those loose pucks. It was just the reaction times from Playmaker and Eki especially. I mean, they sort of, know what's going to happen seemingly before it even happens right there, and that's what led to that goal especially was, that they kind of forced the bounce right there. Playmaker got it and immediately sent it down the boards to the waiting Eki, kicks it back out front, and again, that's exactly what led to that goal, and they're right back in the zone now. Färjestad have to find an answer to this. Get them out of your zone.
FBK tied it in the last game. Gave up 3 goals in 4 minutes in, so how much of a factor is that? The back of their mind. Look at that, though. Now 8-1 on the draws. It's still losing the game. Not often you'd see that.
Yeah, it's, it just goes to show, faceoffs can help get that possession, but they're definitely not the end-all be-all, and it definitely matters where those are being won. You got to feel like, a lot of those perhaps in the defensive zone, they've only had a chance really, like 1 or maybe 2 faceoffs in that offensive zone to establish something.
And down the other way here now. Couldn't free up Afe on a pass. Let's see how this one plays out here now. Again, Philadelphia. 1-0 in the game and in the series so far. So a long way to go on both accounts. Is this one going to be held in by Teemu? Excellent work. Eki throws it on. That far side looked open. Just didn't go. Another shot stopped by McSaven. They come up clutch here in this game so far. some big stops to keep this one. 1-0 scoreline here. The offense find a way through, though, is the question. Leibniz give and goes with Antonio, the former Vesa Pampa teammates. We know they have that chemistry, but speaking of chemistry again, forward presence in the defensive zone. Playmaker, great attempt there. Off the back skate to cut in, ran out of space. Leibniz pinching in, couldn't find any room either. Bit of a stalemate right now through the opening 8 minutes or so of this second period. As we saw with that filler goal, it's going to happen incredibly quickly. We saw that with FBK's opening goal of this series in the last game. Hemmed in their own zone. I don't know where they score, so we will wait. See who's able to find this breakthrough. Playmaker around the back. One-timer blocked down in front. Space now for Mullen, but an excellent poke check by Teemu. Already halfway through this second period, and this pace certainly favoring Philadelphia right now. It's FBK on the back foot. Not able to get themselves any space. Huge hit there. Man down for Phila. Playmaker just getting back to his feet. It's FBK in the attacking zone. Mullen for Furion. Hit the post! And Kape is able to cover. Sin, it nearly happened again for them.
That close to a conversion right there. Excellent job of puck support by Färjestad. You know, good zone entry from Afe, who got the pucked off, but Mullen was right there to recover it. They were able to get the puck across, and another face-off one as well.
Another big stop by Kape. FBK trying to take advantage of the face-off advantage that they have so far. Couple of big chances there. A hit post from Furion. He's in a shooter's position here on this draw. There it is. Deflection and another stop by Kape. Picture perfect positioning from one of the world's best.
And this is sort of how Färjestad can sort of work their way back into this game with the face-off presence. Unfortunately, they lose one right there. All good things must come to an end, but we'll see if maybe that can lead them to getting some aggression of their own, some zone time of their own, but that blue line, it just seems like a brick wall for them at this point.
Chance there for Potzloff, just couldn't maintain possession. Much better from FBK here in the past 4 to 5 minutes. There's the quick out, it's on net and forcing a stop for Kape, but forwards jumping the gun a little bit. They were offside, so not able to get any follow-up pressure on them. Becky. Quick give and go. Playmaker looking. Potzloff shovels the backhand on. And McSaven finds the rebound before Eki could take a swipe at it.
Yeah, those quick chances out front from the down low cycle, something that Philadelphia is so good at, and they're so sneaky with it too. Maybe seems like they won't really go, you know, don't have this time and space to do it, but they somehow find the passing lane from an angle that you perhaps wouldn't expect. You expect the pass to come maybe a split second later, but you can just tell how much they work on that and how just precise their timing is, and it really gives teams fits.
Well, they're along the half wall, and it's FBK back in control. 2 minutes to play now in the second period, and an offside call once more. FBK just 1 goal in this series so far through nearly 5 periods of play. Not for a lack of trying. Some bad luck, in some regards. See what happens here, though. Here's Eki, has a step, looking, nearly found Playmaker on the pass. Back in the attacking zone, one-timer, loose puck, recovers by Mullen. 3-on-2 down the other way. Antonio Mannon finds Mullen again, shot on, stopped, rebound, and handled well by Philadelphia. Final 10. Eki. Now way up to Teemu. Looking. Eki. Potzloff. Everyone trying to get a piece of it. As Leibniz will wind down the time. Sin, a surprising 1-0 scoreline as we head into the third period this time out. As you get a look at the stats, I mean, the shots, even. Time on attack, not so much. But for FBK, 12-3, the advantage on draws. Yet they still haven't been able to take advantage of that and find the goal.
Yeah, and that's incredibly unfortunate. We saw that that one shot hitting the crossbar coming out from Furion on that rush play. But I like what they've done here. The adjustment they made to be like, all right, the chances are few and far between. Let's take more when we're in the zone. Let's just throw some things at the net. And that was kind of something that we touched on here. The controlled chaos, sort of start working that in. I think maybe in that first game they're a bit too hesitant, wanted some more high quality chances, but they were just few and far between. So right now they're trying to make their own luck. It hasn't quite worked for them, but the adjustment is especially good here. Something that you're going to have to be constantly doing is evolving your play against your opponent. They've done that here. Will they be able to get rewarded with a goal and tie this one up? It's a different question to answer.
Villa in on the attack early on here. Teemu. She's over D to D. Loimu looking around as well. Finds Eki. Playmaker down low. Potzloff posted up in front. Loose puck still held by Playmaker. Now it's Eki. Again getting it back. Furion finally able to take away possession. Comes Mullen. Up the middle looking here. Back to Lehmanens. Back to Mullen. Nearly. Completed that play. Loose puck just wide of the post. Afe had a swipe at that one on the short side. So close yet so far for FBK. Chance for Playmaker. Nearly walked in. And a shot on and a glove stop by Kape out in center field. But again, Philadelphia being stifled a little bit more in the neutral zone. Good job there by Lehmanens to weave his way in. Furion, Mullen, quick give and goes. Loose puck in front, backhand just doesn't find the back of the nets. What is it going to take? Sin, the comments were made last year when Kape won Finals MVP. It was like a force field was behind him. I think we're seeing a repeat.
Yeah, and that was just a really good play by Färjestad to get the puck to where it needed to be. Unfortunately for them, the shooter got it on the backhand. Had that been Afe getting that puck, I think we're talking about a tie game right here. But, just kind of so close yet so far, sort of in the story for Färjestad throughout this one first, as they're really cranking up the aggression. And right now, they're sort of tilting the ice back in their favor, which is exactly what they need to do here. But they've got to find a goal, sooner rather than later. I'm sure they'd prefer. They'd rather play in an even footing. See Potzloff jumping right there. So perhaps, mentally kind of getting to him, losing all these draws.
Here's Eki all alone. Denied by McSavid. A huge stop by the FBK netminder. You always say, remember that one, depending on how the game goes. It's a potentially a game, if not series-saving stop. But can they avoid the secondary chances here? Still in on the attacker, Philadelphia. Playmaker looking. Pulling down low, and the pass off the mark. Sin 7.5 to go. McSavid doing what he can to keep his team in it. They've yet to find that goal. Here we go. Playmaker, bit of space. Cutting back, and he scores! Is that the dagger? In game number 2, the backskate from Playmaker and a nearly unstoppable chance there against McSavid directly in front.
I mean, just what a play by him, streaking up the ice to split the defense. The pass coming from Potzloff after that. And yeah, the L skating right there, just absolutely on point, weaving around the defenseman, getting it around McSavid right there, who was just a split second too slow in the adjustment there. But I mean, to be fair, it's so hard to adjust to that sort of change in direction, change of speed, which we saw from Eki off that breakaway too, trying a little bit of a stop there and to generate more space. So the second time we've sort of seen Philadelphia pull that off, and they capitalized there on that one. As Färjestad looking for a quick response there, puck in front of the net, they aren't able to get a stick on it.
Here's Playmaker again, just scored the goal. Eki shovels one just wide. Huge hit there, no call. Still battling for the puck. FBK have it. Got to find a way here to make something happen. Want to battle for the puck. They're offside at the end of it, though. This one's going to go way back down with 4:29 to go. He's on way back down, but pretty far back, all things considered, or maybe not. Interesting call there. Still now 16-3 on draws and losing the game. It's just a heartbreaking total, I think, for anybody that plays center. But here's a little bit of space. Shot it just wide. Another one-timer blocked down in front. Great layers in defense. Playmaker can't get the pass, and he'll save some stamina there with 3 minutes to go. How unfortunate have FBK been in this one, Sin, as we'll see a timeout.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of misfortune. They're getting good chances. Either, they hit the post or, going wide or something's, just getting saved, or that puck trickles and just kind of stops at the blue line. As we see that play coming out from Eki after that sort of stoppage, you can see the defensive skill stick coming back there. I believe that was actually Afe on the back check there. As I was checking those last names, almost getting a stick on that. The speedy winger of Färjestad, but again, it's just such a tough situation for Färjestad. They're getting chances. It's not like they're not getting some quality looks. It's just they haven't quite put that puck home. So a bit more misfortune than getting outplayed, as maybe it was more the case in that game one. But it's kind of what happens there. You got to be able to capitalize on your chances as well. The brutal efficiency that we've seen from them, not quite on display quite yet.
Good play out by McSaven. Again, no space to be taken advantage of. Aloimu, the move to get that puck in down low. 50 seconds to play here in game number 2. Time running up for FBK. Again, just 1 goal so far in this series. Good interception by Furion. Space for Antonio Mannin. Can't get that pass across. Good interception by Furion once more. Looking, shot blocker, stopped by Kape and out of play. And Sim with 30 seconds to go. We'll see the extra attacker out for Färjestad.
It's desperation time right now. We'll see what they have planned off of this draw here.
They do win it. Deflection bids, doesn't find a way to a friendly stick as Potzloff chases this one down. Empty net. Eki down low, bumped off. 15 seconds to play here. Philadelphia will take a commanding 2-0 series lead into action as that one's off the mark. They'll take that lead into action on Wednesday, games 3 and 4, as this series will continue on. The defending champs 2 wins away of having a chance to retain their crown.
And just a really kind of a tough result here for Färjestad, especially in the second game. I feel like they played much thbetter than in game 1. The stats, it definitely show it, but it wasn't just that. It was, where they're getting their looks from. It was, they were still getting their rush chances. We saw some Furion as he rang it off the post, but they were getting some chances in the zone as well, as we see the deflection coming out from Afe right there, and they're getting chances in a variety of ways, and that's what you have to do against Philadelphia, because you cannot keep throwing the same looks at them. They will shut it down. They're already pretty good at adjusting, but you have to continuously be evolving, as we saw, Färjestad attempting to do. And unfortunately for them, they didn't get rewarded with the goals in that one, which is got to be frustrating, because, as I said, they really had a much better second game, and at times they got enough chances to be able to tie that one up, perhaps even have a lead if they're able to get a bounce or two. It simply didn't work out for them, and that kind of makes this that 2-0 hurt a lot more than perhaps maybe it should. Is they really had a good game right there. Yeah, the time on attack maybe doesn't necessarily reflect that, but the chances that Färjestad were able to generate were good, and the fact that Kape got a shutout right there really speaks to how good Kape is, number one, but perhaps a bit of the misfortune from Färjestad right there. They just simply weren't able to capitalize on it. So they're going to have to find something in games 3 and 4 to sort of to be able to build towards. And it's going to be tough climbing that mountain of a 2-0 deficit here in this series, but that's the task that they're faced with. If they continue to evolve as they did here in game 2, they can definitely make this competitive. But if you're Philadelphia, you got to be feeling, quite good about those 2 games.
So again, the first 2 games in the books of our opening semi-final. Of course, our second matchup is coming up in just a few moments. Games 1 and 2 in a rematch of last year's semifinal. HAVU take on hREDS. Game 1 coming up on the aftermath of this brief intermission. So stick with us here. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa. Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, everybody, we are back again. Tuki here, still alongside my broadcast partner in Sin for NHL Gamer, of course, as we continue on with ECL Elite Division action here. We just saw a few moments ago, Philadelphia, again, are defending champions. Are you tired of hearing me say that? Well, I get to say it for a little bit longer, and who knows, maybe even a whole nother season could happen. They took a 2-0 series lead over Färjestad, but now, Sin, our attention shifts to our other semi-final matchup as we get you a look at the bracket here again. It is a rematch from last year's semi-final in which hREDS took that big leap forward. They defeated HAVU. They went to the finals where, again, they did fall short against Phila, but they took that big step forward. And this year, Sin, it continued as they took that 2 seed once more. And, you know, in terms of this series in the past, it certainly would have been HAVU are the favorites. Now, not so much. I'm very intrigued to see the result of the prediction in chat for who people think is probably more likely to win game 1 here, because maybe, just maybe, it's changed and hREDS might be the slight favorite in this one.
You know what? I would say immediately, I think hREDS is now the favorite in this matchup. It's kind of tough to say given HAVU's track record, but you think back to last season, hREDS won the series. You think to this season, hREDS was seeded higher. So I think the pressure right now is on HAVU to try to take this team off their game. Maybe the pressure's on hREDS to win, but HAVU, you know, they're a proud team, you know, a very storied team here in the ECL. So I think, you know, they're definitely going to want to try to take it to hREDS here, but hREDS have been just getting so good, making so much progress. It's going to be a tough matchup for HAVU, I think.
That said, let's take a look here at the team stats, the comparison of these two clubs in the postseason so far. And Sin, for HAVU, it's what you would expect, getting the goals that they need while playing an incredibly solid defensive structure. For hREDS, good defense and unbelievable offense has been their story of the year so far.
Yeah, that split right there, the differential 22-7 is incredible. Power play at 44% is incredible. Pretty solid penalty kill there at 80%. But this matchup is going to be much, much tougher, quite clearly. The goals may be, you know, fewer and far between, and they cannot allow themselves to get into that penalty trouble that they have sort of been known for throughout the season and last.
Absolutely. So with that, let's take a look at our lineups here, as we always do. As for HAVU, you have Palazzo, Dominoiti, and the captain in Flyer Kungan, J. Toro, Nasu Stelia on defense. Hanselinho draws the opening games of this series. We'll talk about him a little bit more in a moment. On the flip side there for hREDS, Villapoika, Benito, and Nicky Dangles. Domi, King of Apes on defense, phase between the pipes. And Sin, we focus, as we always do, first on the battle of the centers in Dominoiti and Benito. And of course, when you think about these two, you think about high scoring point totals.
Yeah, absolutely. Benito, I mean, I think one of the top, or maybe, the top point scorer in the regular season as a center, which, again, we kind of touched on that. This is sort of the season of the centers. They're really finding themselves at those, you know, top scoring rates, and, you know, 2 goals for per game so far in the playoffs is absolutely incredible. Obviously, Dominoiti right now, a bit more of the playmaker, but still a threat from everywhere on the ice.
That, of course, as well. We'll take a look at the battle of the wingers in this particular matchup as well. Pawanzo and Flyer Kungan, 9 points apiece. Impressive numbers, but then you see in one fewer game, 14 points for Villapoika, 17 for Nicky Dangles. An unbelievable duo that hREDS have up top.
I mean, Nicky Dangles, we just keep talking about it. He continues to get better. He continues to add more elements to his game, and he is quickly becoming someone that we're going to be talking about as one of the best Euro players right here. And this is a big chance to continue that and make a name for himself in this series.
Of course, here the defensive battle as well along the blue line for HAVU, J. Toro, and Nasu Stelia. Perhaps not the point total you'd expect from J. Toro so far in this postseason. We're on the flip side. Domi and King of Apes living up to their reputation, certainly putting up points.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So King of Apes, maybe not getting the point totals that he was used to in the regular season, but again, it's that threat level. You always have to be aware of him jumping into the rush, aware of him sneaking into that high slot for the one-time chances. He's got a couple goals there to show for it. So just kind of the story here, hREDS leading, leading over their opponents here in the point totals, but we'll see what happens in this match. Maybe a lot tighter than hREDS was used to in that first one. It could give him fits.
Similar to our first matchup here tonight, again, our colleague in one Martindale was able to get a word in with some of the players here for these particular matchups. He was able to get a word with Jay Toro before this battle began. So let's throw it over to Connor, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks again to Tuginson. We're now joined by Jay Toro, the lefty for HAVU. And, well, I guess let's just go straight into it. As was mentioned in the original preview for these playoffs, it would seem as though the gap between HAVU and hREDS has closed over the past couple seasons. Indeed, in some quarters, there are those suggesting that instead of the usual 1-2 perennial finish of HAVU and Philadelphia, it will now be between the latter and hREDS. So, my question is, how has HAVU approached this series, and this season even, in order to win back their spot as one of the top 2 ECL teams?
Ooh, big question. I think we've done a lot of preparing. We've been on boot camps and really studied like all the teams, and especially the top teams like Philadelphia and hREDS. We knew that they would be in the semifinals, so I think we're well prepared, and I think we know their weaknesses, and they know our weaknesses. So I think it's up to the teams who utilize their weaknesses the better. So yeah, I think that's how we prepared in this series.
I mean, if you're comfortable speaking about it, what weaknesses have you pointed to in hREDS?
Rather not say it, because it will be they then they can prepare.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
Compared with last season, though, HAVU made quite a few changes in that Puanzo returned to left wing, you yourself joined as the lefty, and Nasu made the switch over to right D. Could you walk everyone through how this developed, or as much as you can make out? And would it be fair to suggest, even though you essentially have a full season under your belts with all these changes, you're still working towards a ceiling? So there's still something more that you can grow as a team.
Well, of course, there's always something to do better. Nobody's perfect in this game. Everybody has their flaws, and everyone's good at their own things. And I think Nasso especially has done a really good job at the righty. I think it's his first season as righty, and he'll switch hands and stuff like that. It isn't easy, and he's done a terrific job. So I'm very, very proud of that. We had some problems, chemistry-wise in the beginning. But we just practiced a lot and talked about all the stuff that's been difficult, and I think we're really playing good right now. But of course, we can do a lot better. We just need to play our best games to win hREDS, because we know that it's a difficult team to win. So we just got to do our best.
I mean, just from I don't know, just quick looking at the games previously, it seemed like you were quite rocky at times in the regular season, but it seems as though once the playoffs kind of kicked in, it just kind of meshed to a great degree than earlier. But one question actually is, how have you been able to adjust transitioning to HAVU from Philadelphia? Is there any main differences that you found so far?
Oh, yeah, it's big difference in gameplay wise and how we talk and all that stuff. So in the beginning, it was very difficult to just get the chemistry going, especially with me, because they've played a lot with each other, and Nasso just going to the other side. It makes a big difference, especially when you're used to doing some kind of stuff. And I think that we've done the best we can, and we can do better. So I think we just how do you say it? We can do better, but I think we've done the best we can.
Okay, well, despite all these changes and issues raised and posited about HAVU, you nevertheless are in the same position you're in last season. Oh, well, HAVU, that is. So, where they had to play hREDS in the semis, and where they unfortunately bowed out in 6 games. What specific changes have you as a team made to make sure you don't end up meeting the same fate?
Good question. I think we've studied a lot how they play, because Reds has done some changes as well before this season, changing their left wing and lefty, and that was a big difference for them as well. In my opinion, the D pair they have now is stronger. If you look at the last season, they're a very offensive team, and they will pressure very high, and we need to be ready for everything they have, because they're really skilled team offensively. So I think we're prepared for almost everything. If they don't come up with something new before the playoffs, we don't know that. So, but I think we're well prepared.
Well, I think that's pretty much all the questions we have, unless you'd like to say something quickly.
I hope it will be a good series, and thank you everyone who supported us this season, and especially HAVU Gaming for supporting us, all the supporters. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, well, in that case, thank you for taking part in this, and good luck later on in the series.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll pass it back to Sin and Tugi in the studio.
So again, a big thank you to Martindale there for helping us on this particular broadcast. Hell of a job being done. Sin, we have one more position to look at in terms of the player comparison. It is the goaltenders, of course, and talking about this particular battle as well. Beyond excited for this, because you have FaZe, who really took the league by storm last year with Vesapampa. Rookie of the Year, was voted goaltender of the year as well. Makes the big move to hREDS, and now he's really in that pressure cooker where save percentage maybe not quite where you'd want it to be, but he is a perfect 4-0 so far. But on the flip side, Hanselinho and of course Sibelius splitting the net in that first round, but Hanselinho in the 2 games that he played. I mean, how can you not be intimidated looking at those numbers? We joked that the dad strength was about to kick in. I think it kicked in a little bit early. An unbelievable 93% save percentage there in those first 2 games. I mean, you want to talk about confidence for one of the best goaltenders in the league heading into a series. That is a scary thought.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of confidence for him going forward, and confidence that they're going to need, as one of the stronger defensive teams, HAVU Gaming, going up against one of the stronger, or maybe even the strongest here in the playoffs, offensive teams in hREDS. So it really is a case of unstoppable force, immovable object. The question is, which one of them will bend first?
So, of course, as we always do here as well, we will go ahead and throw it to our 3 keys to success. We'll start off with HAVU. Again, puck drop in just a few moments here. But Sin, for the moment with HAVU, what stands out? As again, they're going to be looking, that first point, revenge in mind, certainly. They're going to be looking to get revenge for last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really it has to be on their minds, as much as they perhaps may not want to speak of it. It's on their minds. It is a tough loss for them last season, but the squad has been revitalized now with the return of Puanzo, as well as the acquisition of Jay Toro, and of course Hanselinho back between the pipes. You saw his numbers there in the playoffs, ridiculous. It's tough to say that they're not favorites in this series, perhaps from an outsider perspective, but will they view it that way? The second point here is strategy. We know HAVU like to stick to the strategy, whether it seems to be working or not. Very, very system-based team. We saw it in the regular season action. hREDS definitely have the talent to withstand that pressure and sort of be able to break through their trap game, so to speak, at the blue line especially. So what we see from HAVU in this series, will it be, some adjustments made necessary? I think they might have to break that out. The third point here is the friendly competition. Hanselinho and Sibelius have the 2 highest save percentages in the postseason thus far, and they're both phenomenal in the regular season as they split the 2 some games here in this playoffs already. So Hans Selino will get the start here in this series, and it's going to be a pretty great start for him. I mean, no pressure really for the league's best, but he will probably face some extended pressure than he did in the previous round.
And of course, as well, we have our keys for hREDS in this series, looking to get back to the championship round. Sim, what stands out for them here as we look to begin this series?
Yeah, well, the first point here is, speaking of revitalized, we talked about the very tough skates to fill following the departure of Yoki from this club last season after their championship round loss to Philadelphia. But Villapoika has stepped in and exceeded all expectations. It's really time to see where his performance level will be at now that the pressure is really on here in the Final Four. They've got the rematch here. HAVU's looking for revenge. The second point here is, we touched on in the pregame, we touched on it in the regular season, we'll touch on it again, the discipline concerns. It has been a tendency in the past to see both of these defenders take penalties while trying to keep the pressure up on the attack, especially Domi throughout the course of the season, who led in penalty minutes amongst defenders. You're not going to be able to make those mistakes against HAVU. You have to limit those mistakes, because if you give HAVU that little bit of pressure, they will capitalize. They'll get that down low game going that they want to be able to suffocate you defensively. Unfazed part 3, last year's Rookie of the Year. Perhaps the acquisition with the most pressure on his shoulders jumping into this hREDS lineup, who have those championship aspirations. And now he's facing his biggest challenge yet. We're going to see how he handles the pressure cooker known as a Final Four, but especially in what is going to be seemingly being a tight defensive matchup here, hREDS against HAVU.
So with that, everybody, again, puck drop just a few moments away. We'll be covering the first 2 games of this series here today. And again, a friendly reminder, games 3 and 4, Sin and I will be right back here on Wednesday, cover those particular games. And then, of course, any carryover will be handled on Thursday. That broadcast and finish. Again, semifinals week kicking off here in the Elite Division this week. And, of course, we'll have more information for you later on in the week in regards to the championship round that'll be coming up very, very soon. And again, a friendly reminder for those of you that might just be joining us here at NHLgamer.com. All the information that you need, not just the Elite Division, of course, but everything else going on. We've seen updates from Estor in chat as the stream has gone on in regards to the happenings in the playoffs in our other divisions here as well. So much going on within the NHL Gamer umbrella. Sin signups as well, beginning for the Western Europe side of things as well. Season 2 coming up. We got an article on that on the website as well. So again, just so much going on with NHL Gamer. Make sure to check out the site if you haven't already. But Sin, again, we are just a few moments away from puck drop in this particular series to get underway. You talked about the point of revenge for HAVU. It's interesting though, right? Because we had seen changes to the lineups here for both of these teams heading into this series. So while you think, revenge will probably be a factor, there are definitely some of these guys who are like, well, I wasn't here last year. It's a brand new story that's about to be written. And it is those changes, right? I mean, again, you talk about for HAVU, the addition of Pawanso, and right now, being conducted behind the scenes, we have our player voting, which is one of the things I'm so much looking forward to, as well as we, again, we poll players within the Elite Division to say, who do you guys think is the best? And for someone like Pawanso, he might be the favorite for comeback player of the year this year after sitting out last season. But then on the flip side as well, you talk about Hans Selino and the performance that he might have today, because that's where we honestly thought HAVU fell short last year, was Hans Selino on that left-hand side. And that was one of the big talking points you had last year, was that he didn't have the one-time option on the left wing, and that clearly negatively affected HAVU. That's not a story this time, though. He's back between the pipes. It's a completely different look that hREDS are going to be facing. And then again, they've made their lineup changes as well, and I think they have done better than we really could have expected. It's such an unpredictable series that we have on our hands here.
Yeah, and to touch more on that, kind of the one-time option, it's great to have, Poinso back, but the thing that they're, if they were hoping for that to kind of be their ace in the hole, having that one-time option back, honestly, I think they're facing an even more talented and an even better rendition of hREDS than they did in the previous season. So, I mean, having back Poinso is great. Hanselino back between the pipes is great, but this is an incredibly tough team. They're no longer the upstarts, making upsets happen. They are, perhaps on the level of HAVU, maybe even considered potentially, a bit more of a favorite here, although it's hard to kind of, supplant what HAVU has done in the past here. hREDS this season have seemed absolutely unstoppable at times, and this will be a good series regardless. I'm curious to see just, how it's going to play out. Will it be the defensive struggle? Will hREDS be able to kind of, get that offense going? They have such incredible passing. I'd say they're passing on point with Philadelphia's here, so HAVU's going to have to defend well and hopefully not defend often. They'd like to establish their own down-low cycle game as well. As we know, that's where a lot of the offense that they like to generate comes from.
So again, you get a look at the two teams there. Get you a look at them throughout this series to try and see some of the reactions. Sin, tough to read. I mean, I'm looking at Flyer Kungen here, captain of HAVU. I think, a look of determination, to say the least. We saw Kape for Philadelphia really keeping things light. But these two teams, I mean, this is a big, big series for both of them as we get ready for puck drop in Game 1.
Yeah, you know what I've noticed? There's a lot of white walls there over in Finland and Sweden. That's what I've kind of come away with here in with these player cams. Yeah, puck drop Game 1. I want to see which of these teams is more likely to be able to establish their game early on.
So here we are underway. You saw there briefly Nicky Dangles with the puck for hREDS, again rocking the golden helmet as team leading scorer. Dominoiti there as well with the puck for HAVU as well, leading the way for his club, as we could be in store for a very gritty blue line battle between these two teams, or perhaps a more flowing offensive strike for strike type of affair. It really is tough to say with these two teams, as they both know each other so well at this stage. And an extra pass there goes all the way back. Sin, judging by your reaction, maybe a bit surprised he didn't pull the trigger on the shot.
I am. It almost seems like he was a bit surprised to get that pass so early on. So kind of interesting there, especially from, as we mentioned, the leading scorer right there, Nicky Dangles. But, that the fact that he hesitated, he understood the shot probably wouldn't have had the same desired effect if he took that early, tried to get the pass back to the point, which is a decent idea when he already hesitates. So good thinking on the fly. Unfortunately, didn't connect right there, giving HAVU a chance to enter the zone.
hREDS are going to try to go back down the other way there. Villapoika unable to brute force his way past the defense. Let's see what HAVU can do now going down the other way. Pass into the corner. Alonso not able to make a play for it. And hREDS again, quickly transitioning down the other way. Here's Benito, and the big chance. Trip is drawn, and a penalty shot is called. Close quarters there, but the penalty shot called regardless. 1-on-1. Captain Benito against Hanselino, and he misses the nets. What a break for HAVU early on. And a frustrating moment, I'm sure, for hREDS.
Yeah, he got Hanselino to go down a bit too early. It wasn't a bad attempt, but he definitely went down early. He had the space as they go for a one-time there. Hanselino caught, but is able to cover it up right there. Yeah, onto that point again. Excellent patience by Benito there. He forced the goaltender to make the first move, which is not necessarily what you want, but missing the net. So an opportunity gone by the wayside.
Big saves there, to say the least, from Hansu. In response, though, HAVU playing with fire in the early stages. We'll see what they're able to do here. They try to get their offensive game going, but so far, so good. From hREDS, we mentioned it, if there's any team that knows how to stifle the offensive strategies of HAVU, it's not just Philadelphia anymore. hREDS very much in that class. This is why the #1 seed for Phila was so important, because you had a feeling 2 and 3 were going to have to go through one another like they did last year, and indeed, that's where we're at right now. The hREDS, of course, taking that 2 seed this season for whatever value home ice advantage might have on the virtual side of things, as Dominoiti couldn't get rid of that one. Good poke check, frees it up. HAVU in control here. Over the line, Jay Toro. Can't send that one down low. It was a good pickoff there by King of Apes. He's back in control. Last year's leading scorer amongst defenders. A lot of marquee names in this matchup. Dominoiti tries to throw one on and does. And Flyer Kungan just got caught up on FaZe. Otherwise, he might have been able to tuck that one in.
Yeah, absolutely. FaZe had a bit more trouble on that than was necessary. It wasn't like it was a juicy rebound, but it kind of lingered there by his pad for a bit longer than he would have preferred. But in the end, he was able to get that cover. hREDS win that face-off. They're going to want to get this puck out and establish their own attack down in the other end. HAVU's done a pretty good job, though, so far of being able to gain the zone. And when they do, their down-low cycle is really kind of coming to roost.
hREDS struggling to gain the line. They are offside here. 3:52 to go. Again, very fast-paced first periods through these games that we've covered so far here tonight. Not exactly getting those continuous offsides from the neutral zone battle. No complaints here on what has been deemed Marathon Mondays through the Elite Division this season. Hawk, good pass there. Nicky Dangles again looking for that extra feed, just not able to find it. Alonso has it now. He's bumped off, and then that's all that was. Someone tries to step forward a couple of inches. They take the hit, so on and so forth, and another chance just wide. Somehow, some way, Benito yet to find the back of the net in this game.
He's going to have to go get himself a new stick. That's twice he's missed that side of the net right there on two stellar opportunities. The first one being the penalty shot, but here come hREDS, their transition game, really starting to gain legs right there. That was a great job from the front three to get that chance for Benito. And at the end of the period here, it's so unfortunate for hREDS to have not found the back of the net on some of those chances. We're seeing just how dangerous Benito is, but some key saves from Hanselinho, some missed opportunities for hREDS, and unfortunately for them, this game is tied. But on the flip side, HAVU was getting some time down low. They didn't get the most dangerous of chances, but they were getting their offensive zone cycle established, which is what is going to feed those chances and what they want to get going. So when that HAVU ball gets rolling, that's when they can start, getting their chances. This sort of, very machine-like in that way. hREDS definitely with a bit of a stronger counterattack at times, but weren't able to capitalize. That being said, kind of an interesting period with the shot totals. It felt like we saw a few more chances than ended up being, but, missed nets and all of that for hREDS. So we'll see what happens here in this second period. If they can establish their own cycle game, as they weren't necessarily able to do that. HAVU was able to do that on at least one occasion there, but definitely maybe what we expected, a bit of a blue line struggle at times, a lot of good defense being played, and a lot of, waiting for the opportunities from both of these clubs.
That was an incredibly low amount of attacking time for both teams. It's, neutral zone battle to say the least. We'll see what happens here in the second period. If only it was NHL 14, Benito would be able to go change the stick flex and maybe find a way to find the back of the net, but no such luck here. We'll see how he adapts here in the second period. In game number 1, second round action here in the semifinals. hREDS in on the attack. One-timer deflected just wide off the leg of Benito as his bad luck continues. What bad luck can a guy have? Okay, Toro able to recover here. Stelia the feed again. Flyer Kungan bumped off the puck. They're going to call that interference though. So a power play coming to HAVU. First of the game, first of the series. Hanselinho's out as the extra attacker. We know how dangerous he can be, and that one's intercepted. So a power play bid here. Sure, it was an interference call. Not sure quite yet who is in the box, and the answer is Domi is in the box there. So a huge opportunity. Sim, we mentioned for Domi, can sometimes get in penalty trouble, and there it is, an early example.
Yeah, and hREDS, as a group, one of the teams more prone to getting into penalty trouble, and something that we mentioned that they simply can't do because HAVU has too good of a cycle.
On display there for the moment. Fighting for it here, though, King of Apes. Benito's able to recover down low. Puck sent all the way down by Nicky Dangles. So 45 to go on the play. Let's see what HAVU can do. Feels like the time's on fast forward with how quick these games have been, and a big glove stop Good look from Jay Toro, though, said to throw that one on.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, definitely one of the better scorers here in the ECL, just kind of putting that on open. He could catch face slightly off his angle. No such luck on there, but I like the mentality to take the shot.
A set play off the draw, but a swing and miss by Palazzo. We're back to 5-on-5. Here comes the back pressure. And a turnover there, so strong job there by hREDS. FaZe really only tested once. That slap shot from Jay Toro. Big hit there. Palazzo has the puck. Knocked loose for the moment. Jay Toro again throwing one on, and it nearly bounced in off of Domi. Interesting to see Jay Toro's willingness to just let it fly from the point, though. Keep an eye out for that. Dominointi was able to recover for HAVU. Very quick movement for them, but slowed down a little bit here in the neutral zone. And trouble at the blue line, but HAVU maintaining possession and a pass off the mark. Listen, we have seen that quite a bit from HAVU as well. And honestly, it's at the point now where, you know, it's intentional in terms of, well, there's nothing there. Let's drop it back and reset. Not often the worst way to go, but hREDS are in control here in the attacking zone. Domi looking at his options, cuts back, and now goes down low to Villapoica. King of Apes, Nicky dangles. You can tell they're looking for something. It's just not there right now. Back to Apes at the point. Fakes the one time, or the slap shot. Again, the 1T option. Domi tried to throw it onto the traffic. Very strong defensive structure from HAVU in this one so far. Here's Flyer Coogan. Sauced it on, and FaZe was able to handle that one, and he covers.
Yeah, and I think hREDS is gonna, they're not gonna get what they perhaps want, perhaps what they've been able to get so far, because HAVU is so good. They very rarely get crossed up defensively in their own end. So if you're hREDS, perhaps those chances you used to won't come. You're gonna have to make an adjustment.
Still, HAVU in the attacking zone. Down low, and a trip is called. Great draw from Flyer Coogan. And who's it going to be on this one, Sin? It is Domi again.
Yep.
Huge opportunity again for HAVU here.
It's pretty rough. That's kind of an interesting way to poke as well. It's a left-handed Flyer Coogan there behind the net, so he's already protecting that puck right there. Just kind of careless with the stick was Domi, and a good win.
Oh, good block there, though, by King of Apes. Crucial at that. HAVU 0 for 1 on the power play. Their second chance here. Second best power play in the regular season against hRED's third-ranked PK. This one at least back to the neutral zone. Couldn't send it all the way down. We're halfway through the man advantage here already. Domi's second minor infraction of this game so far. It's 4.5 minutes to play now here in the second period. Still looking for our opening goal. Flyer Coogan bumped off the puck. And hREDS will send it all the way down this time out. Villapoica. There's on the side of caution. 10 seconds now, so a great kill. So far, at least. Time as we're back to 5-on-5. Dominointi was point blank, and able to pirouette there to get a shot on, but FaZe was able to find it.
Yeah, and he's been quite good so far. But yeah, not too bad of a HAVU power play at times, but hREDS kind of flexing their penalty kill. They sure get a lot of practice, and they're getting a bit of a workout here, but still in a 0-0 game. They can't allow themselves to kind of, you know, take the wind out of their own sails, so to speak. You know, those self-inflicted wounds, perhaps the biggest Achilles heel of them this season.
King of Apes now looking to step in, was poked away by Palazzo. Jay Toro with some trouble, but he's able to slow it down. 1.5 minutes to play here. Very quick pace to this game. He dangles, able to find Villapoica. Bumped off, held in by Domi. Shot on, stopped by Hanselinho. I have to say that too often. Final 7 seconds, 1T broken up by Flyer Coogan. Kept in, King of Apes, one-timer from Domi stops. And Hanselinho takes away the rebound bid. 1.2 to go in an empty net here for hREDS. We'll see if they have time. Let's see what Benito can do on this draw. Can't win it. Great job from Dominointi. That brings us to the end of the second period. Sin still looking for our opening goal of the contest.
Yeah, very much a defensive struggle so far for both of these teams. But hREDS, I would like to. We started seeing it a bit more there towards the end of them taking a few more point shots, looking for deflections, looking for rebounds. We saw it coming out. I think that was Nicky Dangles there looking for the initial deflection, didn't get it. The puck sort of bounced off Fonsolino, and he was trying to crash the net for the rebound as well. We're gonna need to see more of that from hREDS. As they were working the perimeter, trying to open up the slot as they were so good at doing and having such precise passing throughout the course of the season. It's really not going to be there too often against HAVU, so we're going to have to see them make those adjustments, and they did towards the end there, taking a few more point shots, trying to create some loose puck opportunities to get HAVU moving out of position. And if they can win those puck battles, win those races to the loose puck, that's how you open up the slot, and that's how you're going to open up those higher quality opportunities that hREDS are able to make with their quick passing and just precise puck movement. So I like what they're doing there towards the end, and that's what's going to kind of, if they are able to win this game, it's going to be one off the back of decisions like that of taking what's given to them and then trying to win those puck battles.
Here we go now, third period underway. Opening goal of this game could end up being the game winner. As close of a series as we were expecting. I mean, this game living up to that expectation so far, at least through the opening 2 periods. Again, game 2 coming up on the conclusion of this one. And games 3 and 4 will be right here on a Wednesday. Make sure you tune in for that one as well. Of course, Elite Division action. The semi-final brought to you by Wilhelm, Koval Lakritzi, and Viaplay as HAVU right back in on the attacking zone. Deflected just wide of the post. It's Flyer Kungen. Had to force that one in on the opposite side as well and just shut down. Both teams, oh, so close. Again, hREDS, a penalty shot. The shot went wide. Oh, so close, yet oh, so far to finding that opening goal of this game. We should note as well, both of these teams have had a tendency of torturing Sin and I personally with extremely long overtime games in our tenure here with NHL Gamers. So, hope you have a drink, popcorn, because we could be here for a while, as this one's offside with 13 minutes to play.
Yeah, absolutely. When those two teams getting together with their propensity for long overtimes, you never know what will happen. And well, in this case, it's looking like we possibly may have another scenario like that, but things can turn on a dime here.
And a slap shot there by Polanco's denied. Good stop by FaZe. That's what happens when you have two of the best. Made that comparison, irresistible force, immovable object, and indeed, where we stand right now. It's been a long time since we've had a final in the Elite Division that hasn't included at least one of these two teams and Philadelphia. It's a slap shot on there. Flyer Kungen was in front. He decided to jump over it. FaZe is still able to make the stop.
Yeah, good save by FaZe. Flyer Kungen, probably a bit upset about that animation instead of a deflection there. But again, kind of both of these teams starting to evolve their what they want to do and the chances that they want to take on the ice there. But continuing on, HAVU, their defensive game in all three zones is just keeps being incredibly good right there. And they're seeming to gain the neutral zone battle of puck possession. They have that. So the chances that they're able to generate from that will go a long way in deciding the outcome of this game.
Over the line here, bit of space for King of Apes on the backhand. Hansolino standing tall. Sin, no space whatsoever on that attempt.
No, it was a good job to enter the zone right there. But again, yeah, he had no space, nowhere to move that puck, nowhere to really take the shot on his backhand there as well.
High up on the draw, loose puck. Nicky Dangles in possession. It's blocked by Flyer Kungen. Spot on for here. Great poke check there. Nicky Dangles fights for it. Chance, short side, stopped, and it bounces just wide of the post. On the far side, Hansolino, the utmost trust in his defense. You can tell with the way he is not afraid to commit to those short side opportunities. We have just 5.5 to go here. Can you believe it? In regulation, shot doesn't find a way through. Jay Toro has it knocked loose. hREDS starting to get the better of the play here. We need this opening goal. Can we find it? hREDS back in control. Nicky Dangles loses it. I don't know if the prediction was for overtime or not, but it probably should have been, Sin. It seems destined at this point. Final 3 minutes. Regulation here in game number 1. HAVU down low. In front, what a chance. Third opportunity, perhaps. There were 2 swipes at it, and then Flyer Kungen threw it on. Still not able to find the back of the netter. HAVU, as we approach the final minute, it's hREDS in the zone. Villapoika just can't fend off the pressure from Nasustelia. What an effort there. As he gets the puck, it brings it over the line. Big spin, loses it. Nicky Dangles recovers. Self-sauce, trying to get around Jay Toro. Pass across. Villapoika couldn't get all of it. Nicky Dangles, another chance, is denied.
What a
So
play
close.
by Dominointi there. On the back check, he was able to get all over Villapoika, preventing him from getting that opportunity after Nicky Dangles was able to gain the step on Jay Toro.
Under 30 seconds to play now. Dominointi for Jay Toro. Down low. Good movement here. Along the end wall. Flyer Kungen's feed broken up. Patience from Domi. One more chance here for hREDS perhaps. Benito slows it down. Final 10 seconds. Tried to step in. Broken up. Sauce to Flyer Kungen. Can't find Pawanso. Gets it back. And Sin, it seemed destined. A goalless game. We head to overtime in game number 1. The matchup we thought could result in the closest matchup, if not an outright stalemate. Indeed, so far, that's where we stand.
Yeah, I'm predicting that there probably not too many games are going to end multi-goal leads for either of these teams. I'm predicting a lot of one-goal games, a lot of overtimes. They're just that evenly matched, and both of them that good. And as you can see, very conscientious defensively. hREDS kind of adding a bit more to that there, as they're being very careful with their collapse. And while that is sort of giving HAVU the perimeter, we know what HAVU likes to do. They like to try to, work that perimeter and then, go into that slot for the opportunity. hREDS is aware of that, and they're able to guard against that. HAVU, same kind of thing. They know that hREDS like to do that, maybe a bit more creatively, a bit more quicker passing at times to get different looks. But HAVU, being the defensive dynamo that they are, have, again, been able to shut that down. And it's really coming down to the neutral zone battle. Who's getting those quick break-ins to be able to attack with numbers, maybe, get something off the rush. But again, both of these teams have been doing a great job of patrolling their blue line, and they're each taking their time on their break-ins, setting up certain looks, and we're kind of really seeing almost a mirror match right here.
Overtime underway. Game number 1. This best of 7. 1 goal will be enough to win it. Dump and chase there. Villapoika easily recovering it, but the pass down low picked off. Fighting for it there, the double team. Flyer Kungen able to come up with it. Stretch pass for Dominointi. Unable to be on the receiving end of it, so here we go. Will it be chance for chance? Will it open up a little bit? That is the question. Possession at a premium. You can see for HAVU, not afraid. I mean, I think some people would erroneously deem this like puck ragging in a way, Sin, but just keep resetting, and eventually you'll find space. They nearly did there, but they're offside.
Yeah, it's all about timing at the blue line. They're not trying to force it and feed a kind of counterattack from hREDS, which can be dangerous with Villapoika and Nicky Dangles. So they're looking for those precise passing plays to gain the line with the little bit of space needed to establish their cycle. But well defended right there from hREDS. They did gain the line, but they were able to break up that pass back to the point.
Slap shot, the rebound was there, but Villapoika can't tuck it home. Nicky Dangles again, just wide through the traffic. Here's Domi. Down to Villapoika. Benito. Exploring his options, and the pass off the mark. A good bit of offensive zone time, and they'll be forced to reset.
Yeah, unfortunate play right there as King of Apes went to the wall, and he was trying to hit him at the point as a stretch pass there. Nicky Dangles almost in there with speed. Great defensive skill stick. They're able to gain that line again.
Flyer Kungen, though, able to take it away after contact. Nasustelia joining the rush with him. That one poked away by Domi. See why he can end up in penalty trouble, though. He's so active with that defensive skill stick. As over the line, Benito trying to hold it. Good pressure. Boyka on the doorstep. Loose puck still there. Nicky dangles the shot, and a big kick stop by Hanselinho. So many close calls there, Sim, with the puck up for grabs in a high danger area. We have just 9 minutes to play here in OT1. We'll be here for as long as it takes, and it could take a while. As a good interception there. Quickly played out by Domi. Here come hREDS. Villapoika for Domi. Looking in front. What a feed that was. The defense just got a piece of it. Love that from Domi. He's been setting it up all game. Typically going back down around the net for Villapoika.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He used Villapoika as bait right there to try to get the pass into the slot. But it was a great LB or L1 there from Nasu Stelia to break that up.
King of Apes has it here. Able to find Domi, forced to turn back. 5 minutes to play here now. Dump and chase attempt from hREDS. Try to get him on the counter, but they can't. Looking to open up this game a little bit. Here's Benito. Able to find Nicky Dangles. Domi. Back down for Nicky. Around the back, Benito. Good movement here from hREDS, but can they find the chances? That one broken up. Nicky Dangles trying to slap shot that one through. Rough turnover there. Villapoika for Benito. Tried to go back. Still fighting for this puck. Domi keeps it in. That pass off the mark. Nicky Dangles looking. What an extra pass attempt that was from Benito, but again, just couldn't get the Villapoika. Domi for Villapoika. Benito. Domi can't get it through the traffic. Then hREDS are trying a bunch of different things here. It's just unable to find space. I mean, HAVU right now putting the clamps on.
Yeah, but they're really starting to come alive here. That hREDS attack, what they've been known for is those pretty passing plays, and they're getting closer and closer as this game goes on to converting. But yeah, you said it with how close it is. It could come down to one shot, one bounce. So it's good to see hREDS sort of coming alive here, and they have a chance on that icing call to establish their attack once again.
Villapoika's pass off the mark, and that is just a break for HAVU that you can't afford to give them again. Real time now through the rest of this overtime. HAVU in possession. hREDS getting the better of them in the past 10 minutes or so. And get right back in on the attack. Again, willing to dump and chase. Dual threat here against Nasu Stelia. But he handles it well. Great job by Flyer Kungan as well. Tremendous composure. The high pressure situations. Domi just able to get that pass through, but again, Nasu Stelia is all over him. We heard Jay Toro before the game praise Nasu Stelia. And indeed, in terms of not that he doesn't put up points, but a pure defensive option, he might be top in the league. 40 seconds to go in OT number 1. Of how many, that is the question. In the opening game of this semi-final matchup. They're unable to find space. Offside's the call with 26 seconds to play.
And that was a good look that we saw coming out. The execution just slightly off right there. And if time on attack counted in the neutral zone as well, HAVU would have so much of it. As you can see there, their control, their passing, they're really looking for the space to get themselves established. And they don't mind delaying in that neutral zone for perhaps as long as it takes to get the look that they want. And that's kind of the HAVU bread and butter.
There's Domino Inti with a little bit of space. Another pass off the mark. Mistakes made by teams you don't expect. 8 seconds to play here. One more chance perhaps for HAVU. Pass off the mark. Sin. A shot on just wide. Double overtime on deck here. Everybody take a moment, stretch, do what you have to do, because this one could continue on for a long time.
It absolutely could, with both of these teams, not seeming like they're going to break and not seemingly wanting to open things up to allow the other team to get established. And that's sort of kind of the pinnacle of what this matchup is. Neither team wants to give the other one, easier looks, maybe, especially off the rush. But I feel like hREDS may be seemingly the more dangerous team off the rush. HAVU obviously not wanting to give that up, but hREDS, not wanting to give HAVU those easier zone entries because they know that HAVU likes to establish that down low cycle, and that's really where that offense comes from. So if you're able to sort of completely limit them and completely sort of stifle them. That's what you're going to be able to do and feed your own attack back the other way. And I mean, we saw it, hREDS, towards the end there, we're getting some good chances there, but as soon as HAVU got that puck back, you kind of see the hREDS attack sort of wither and die. So they're going to have to do something here early on, see if they can establish something.
hREDS in the attacking zone. Domi just wide on the far side there. Puck in front. Nicky Dangles can't get it through. He's from the slot. Here's King of Apes. For Nicky Dangles, knocked loose. Maintained at the point. Here's Domi. King of Apes tried to shoot that one through. Was picked off by Jay Toro, but again, hREDS in control. Nicky Dangles. King of Apes. Nicky Dangles on the line. Still alive, and Hansolino covers. Absolutely incredible.
How is this game not over? What a play from hREDS. They got that offensive zone attack established, and that shot off the shoulder, off the bar, trickled on the line. Villapoika got a whack at it, but hREDS maybe not done yet. They sense blood in the water, and a bump right there that turned over by HAVU.
That was a weird animation there. It's hREDS still in on the attack. King of Apes tried to shuffle one on. Tricky shot there, but Hansolino was all over it.
Yeah, I mean, you can test that if the goalie's slightly off his angle, but sometimes a shot will just beat him, and you're seeing hREDS kind of go for that a little bit more and use the man around the net as bait, and we've seen that coming out either with a pass or a shot, and hREDS are opening up a lot more doors offensively when they're able to do that, and HAVU, kind of, I'm not going to say struggling, but as we can see there, maybe another miscommunication on the pass. They're kind of reeling a little bit as hREDS seeming to gain more and more steam as this matchup goes on, and HAVU kind of in the same position that they were in their system, which is, again, kind of what we see from them more often than not, but hREDS adjusting, getting more chances as this game goes on, and see if they can benefit from it.
Got their rebound was alive, but Benito just not able to get a piece of that one. 3 or 4 near calls here as now Stelia might have trouble with this one. Takes advantage of the space. Good outlet passes here for HAVU. Powanza looking. Sends it down low for Flyer Kungan. Dominoiti back to Powanza. Looking across and they score! What a play! What a feed! And Flyer Kungan is the hero. HAVU take game 1 in double overtime.
What a play right there by them, from the zone entry to the passing and to the goal. Flyer Kungan, the captain, comes up big. You can see the flare coming up from Hansolino, knowing he played absolutely phenomenally. Got some big saves when he needed it and gets rewarded with the shutout at the end of the day, and that's got to be a heartbreaker for hREDS. Again, they were looking like the better team down the stretch, but it just takes one, and that's what we mentioned earlier on. It's going to come down to one shot. You can see the advantage more in hREDS' favor. They extended their time on attack to a lead of 3 minutes, 5 additional shots, but did it matter in the end? It did not. They're going to have to find a way to get more offense earlier on to avoid this here in game 2, because that was an absolutely stellar and clutch win right there coming out from HAVU. Where's the space, you ask? Well, apparently that puck had eyes on the pass across, as we're getting a good look at the replay, and perhaps maybe even a
there should have been a trip there, to be honest. That's a tough break for hREDS. If there's a trip, this game continues on, and who knows from there, but a rough break. Really, that game in general for hREDS in, but again, when you have two teams that are this evenly matched, something's got to give, and oftentimes it's chances like that, no trip, a pass that finds its way through 3 players. And as a result, it will be HAVU taking game 1, handing hREDS their first loss of this postseason. A phenomenal job there, and hey, the good news is game 2 coming up in just a matter of moments. We're going to quickly get you a word from our sponsors, and then we'll see what happens here moving forward into game 2. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, everybody, we are back again. Thank you for sticking with us again. Game 1 in the books. HAVU walking away with the victory. Now, Sin, we talked about earlier in this broadcast, of course, Martindale was able to help us out getting some interviews with players heading into the action today. We weren't able to run our last interview before Game 1, but I'm even more intrigued to know what he has to say now. Again, this was conducted before that first game, but Martindale was able to get a word with Benito, the captain of hREDS. Upon reflection now and us knowing what happens in Game 1, very intrigued to see what he had to say heading into this matchup. Let's turn it over to Connor. We'll be back in a few seconds.
Thanks again, Tuggy and Sim, for this. We now have the final interview of the night. We're joined here by with Benito from hREDS, the center, and just go straight into it. So, Benito, fair or not, hREDS have until very recently always been viewed as just a step behind the duo of HAVU and Philadelphia. That said, it would appear as though the winds are changing in this regard, and that hREDS stands on the precipice of staking their claim as being part of the top two, so to speak. Has this weighed on your minds at all going into this series?
Not really. I just think that on any day we can beat any team, and we will just stuck with that.
So, given that every other team in the semifinals made a defender change in the run up to this season, I figure it would be fair to ask what attracted you as a team towards picking up Domi, and what he brings to the team that no one else quite does. Additionally, Villapoika has once again shown his class in the past season. How easy has it been for him to slot in with everyone else in the team?
I think it has been easy for both of Will and Domi. Domi is like one of the, or I think he is the best at passing as a demon when we are entering the offensive zone, and Willow is just a guy that can do everything, and his two-way game is really important to us, and that's the reason we made those changes.
So would you say that Villapoika kind of adds like a calming influence, perhaps, in your kind of game style? Or? No. Well, as with the past interviews, I've ended it by asking each player from each team if they've made any adjustments going into their series, and well, it's up to them whether they want to share or just keep it secret. Seeing as hREDS played HAVU in the semifinals last year and emerged victorious, are you looking for more of the same, or have you as a squad tried to identify any further holes in HAVU's game that you feel you can exploit?
I think it will be more of the same that it was last year, and I don't think we should or will change anything, and I think if we play like we played last year, we can definitely take the series.
I think that's all the questions we have. Would you like to say anything quickly?
Hopefully people will come and watch our games and enjoy, even though they will probably be low scoring.
Really? Low scoring?
Yeah, I think so.
Would have thought, if anything, it kind of would benefit hREDS if it was a high scoring game. Especially against
I think
HAVU.
we can play any style. We can play games where we score a lot, and also games where we won't score that much. But our team defense is really solid, so it won't be a problem even if the game is 1-0, if or 6-5. Doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, having confidence in that way is not really a bad thing going into a series, so can't really discredit it. But otherwise, then, thank you for taking part in this interview, and good luck in the series later on.
Thank you.
And we'll pass it back now to Tuggy and Sin in the studio.
Again, a big thank you to Martindale for helping us out here on this particular broadcast. Spectacular job. Sin, we heard it right there from the man himself. A low-scoring series. It doesn't get any more low-scoring than 1-0 in double overtime. So, I mean, hey, If you're Benito, maybe go out and play the lottery sometime soon. Good things might happen. This man can predict success, or at least things accurately. Hopefully looking to predict some success for his team moving forward here after dropping that first game. And again, I mean, you just look at that matchup, and it's as expected. Really, it was. I mean, that prediction was there for a reason. We mentioned it throughout the broadcast. These are two teams that know each other so well, that are so talented, that can adapt on the fly about as well as anybody else. So unsurprising that that first game went down the way that it did.
Yeah, and to hREDS' credit, they definitely did well in playing in that defensive kind of matchup. But what I'd like to see them avoid here in game 2 is getting sucked into that same sort of game. Because at that point, I think they're playing HAVU's game, and hREDS aren't that shutdown team. They're good defensively. They're great defensively. Benito said it. They're a very good defensive team, but if they feed into that and kind of overdo it, I think that they're playing the way HAVU wants to play. And we saw that kind of, feeding HAVU just a little bit at times. Obviously, hREDS started to come more alive there towards the end, but I'd like to see what they did there later in those overtimes, pretty much from start to finish, with getting, additional looks and things like that, because again, if HAVU is going to play a tight defensive game against someone, more often than not, HAVU is going to come up with a way to win. I don't care if they're going to get outshot or outchanced. I mean, HAVU has that capability in them to be able to just strike when they need to and win those tight games. So I think HAVU is more used to playing in those sort of scenarios. And hREDS, I think they're going to have to kind of dictate the pace to more, throw their own game at HAVU a bit more if they're going to want to come away with the W in this series.
Absolutely. So again, game 2 coming up in just a matter of moments, a Wednesday. Games 3 and 4 in both this series and our other series, of course, where Philadelphia has a 2-0 series lead on Färjestad. And of course, if necessary, we will see you all on Thursday for the conclusion of the semifinal to set the stage for our championship matchup as well. Still a long way to go until we get there. And that's not just because we have another HAVU hREDS game coming up, where again, it could go to 17 overtimes for all we know. So again, hope you're ready for those possibilities. But Sin, looking ahead here then, in terms of the expectations for game 2, more of the same? I mean, I don't want to say both teams are erring on the side of caution early on. hREDS certainly had their chances, but we saw hREDS. They were a lot more willing, unsurprisingly, to try the dump and chase, to try different looks. Whereas for HAVU, it was stick with our break-in strategy, stick with our strategy. It's the HAVU style. They're going to... They're gonna succeed or they're gonna fail, but they're gonna play their style no matter what.
And that's exactly why I'm saying, hREDS have to sort of put their own touches on the game, where we saw them doing that a little bit more. But oftentimes I felt like they were, again, kind of playing HAVU's game and playing what HAVU wanted to do, which was slow everything down, try to look for your zone entries, get the puck in the zone, work the perimeter, try to open up the slot. And that's how they kind of won in overtime. It was kind of more of a bang play than that, but it was still, a quick kind of cycle down low that found Flyer Kungen there in the slot. And that's what they do. They defend, they bend until they get a goal. All of a sudden they have a lead, or they just win the game outright there in overtime, as we saw. So what I'd like to see from hREDS is more of what they did later in that game. Completely from the start there. They can't get off those slow start. They cannot fall into a lull of playing that defensive game that HAVU likes to play. Defend well, yes. Hold your blue line, yes. But you got to find some kind of advantage, whether that be on the rush or gaining the blue line for yourself.
There we go. Game number 2 just about ready to begin. Again, hREDS perfect in round 1. Handed their first loss of the postseason in that last game. See how game 2 goes in this one. Indominoity. See him in the middle there. Red icon for HAVU. Team leading scorer so far, as signified by the golden helmet. Nicky Dangles dumping that one in. The leader for hREDS. hREDS on the attack early, and Nicky Dangles nearly got a piece of that one. Again, a different look for hREDS, or excuse me, for HAVU in the postseason, as we were corrected in our last broadcast. The London Knights-esque unis. That's the real player poll of the season. What look for HAVU did you prefer this year? That's what I want to know. The Dallas Stars-esque knockoffs, as they were called insultingly, but Consolino doing his best prime Ben Bishop impression there, making that big stop early on. See how this goes here again through the neutral zone as an early tripping call there. Villapoika making the mistake. HAVU again going to the power play.
Yeah, this is, again, kind of the Achilles heel of hREDS all season. They cannot keep giving this team power play looks because that's where HAVU is incredibly dangerous. We'll see what they do here on this opportunity.
Up to tie up, Flyer Kungen scores! The wrist shot broken Upson, but it had enough power to sneak through. HAVU strike early, under 5 minutes in on the power play.
And initially a great defensive play to prevent that shot. There was space on that short side, and it's sort of that space and sort of the defensive effort that kind of doom hREDS there in that scenario as he was looking to take that shot. But again, you cannot give them the power play. A little bit more space off the draw, a little bit more space to take that shot, and the puck just kind of trickles home right there as FaZe is trying to adjust his positioning to prepare for a possible one-timer. HAVU, early advantage. hREDS on the ropes early, not where they want to be, but it's time for them to flip the switch and start getting a bit more aggressive out there. They got to take HAVU off of their game. They cannot, again, fall into that trap of playing into HAVU's hands. So we'll see what hREDS want to do here.
Only so many mistakes you can make against a team like HAVU. They strike early and nearly strike again there. It was Flyer Kungen in front. On the back, Puanzo the wraparound. FaZe forced to squeeze the pads. HAVU nearly doubled him up.
Yeah, that great looks down low coming from, well, you guessed it, down low cycle behind the net. The wrap chance coming there. HAVU seemingly gaining a bit of steam.
Toro to Dominoiti was knocked loose. Then we'll see how hREDS respond. Yet to lead in this series, yet to score a goal in this series. HAVU taking their sweet time on these breakouts. They have the luxury to do so. Jay Toro has it knocked loose, though. Here's Nicky Dangles. Villapoika with them. Villapoika stepping in. Scores! On the backhand, hREDS have their first goal of this series. We are tied at 1. Sin, what a play there by Nicky Dangles to free that one up.
Yeah, the leaps and bounds of progression that he has made to all the elements of his game coming to fruition right there. Excellent job of poking that at the line, and that's the aggression that we're talking about. Controlled, yes, but with high potential offensive upside is what they have to do. That's a tremendous poke right there. An even better pass at the right time to give Villapoika the space, and he had the speed moving forward to get the edge, puts it home on the backhand, and we've got a tie game. Huge, huge response coming out from hREDS.
So it took until double overtime to find our first goal of game 1. We have 2 goals within the first 10 minutes. In game number 2, we have always said expect the unexpected, and here we are as Alonso tried to throw that one on net, couldn't quite get all of it. They win it back on the off wing, at least momentarily. Flyer Kungen in there. What a scramble for the puck. HAVU have it. Jay Toro back over to Nasistelia. It was broken up, though, the last moments. HAVU quickly winning back possession here. We've seen hREDS' response to being scored on. Let's see HAVU's response. Again, slow and steady here through the neutral zone, and mistimed this time. 6:38 to play in the first.
Yeah, good job by hREDS there with a lot of bodies to collapse on that puck carry there, and good defensive skill sticks as, again, they can sometimes get in trouble with them, but in that scenario, pretty good attack, though.
A good chance for Flyer Kungen, but FaZe played it well. Chance now down the wing for Nicky Dangles. What a play and what a stop! What a game for Nicky Dangles so far here in the first period.
He's going to need to be a game changer, as he so often is, and really feeling it early on here in this game, too.
One-timer deflects Hanselino. What a stop that was. The initial chance, dangerous enough, and makes the save off the deflected. Another big face-off here in the attacking zone. Tie up on the play. Palazzo comes up with it for HAVU. 3.5 to go. How long will it be for the next goal? Maybe not long. Dominoiti, loose puck in front, is recovered. Toro, the step up, helps win it back for his team. Dominoiti as well. What a two-way presence he's had in this series so far. Offside call there with 2:06 to play.
Yeah, so hREDS, again, controlling that blue line exceedingly well. That's going to be their big ticket to kind of gaining the advantage. Stop HAVU from gaining the line, feed your counterattack, and then really establish your own offensive zone pressure. But for them, break it in a variety of different ways. You know HAVU's not going to go off their game, so again, you're the one who's going to have to make those adjustments. You're the one who's going to have to kind of keep throwing things at HAVU that potentially they're not ready for, or an advantage. If you see it, keep going back to the well. Because again, HAVU is definitely reluctant to sort of move off of their strategy.
That pass down low doesn't go. One more rush here for hREDS. Nicky Dangles takes the hit. Recovered by Domi for the moment. Scramble shot and scores! Villapoika with under 3 seconds to play in the first period reestablishes the lead for hREDS. And Sin, I mean, hey, they got beat by a goal like that in game 1. They get one of their own here in game 2.
And a great job of staying aggressive right there. That's huge from Domi, recognizing the time on the clock, understanding HAVU could not get a counterattack that would be dangerous to get a goal, so he collapses onto the puck and knocks the puck loose. And then the ensuing aggression from hREDS. The puck goes to Villapoika, who sneaks it home. That is an enormous goal here at the end of the first. Kind of backbreaking if you're HAVU as well, because hREDS is continuing to look better and better and better as the series sort of goes on. They have the advantage here heading in to the next period. But yeah, we've seen some big saves coming out from Hans Selino. Those 2 goals aside, there's been tremendous other chances that have been coming out from hREDS, deflection bids, you know, other shots from the points. They're really kind of really taking what's given to them, something that they didn't do early on in game 1, something that they needed to adjust. They have done that, and I'm so far really liking their chances here in game 2 if they continue on this pace.
So a huge turn of events there, and a big result for hREDS through the opening frame of this game. They have that 2-1 lead. Started the scoring, finished the scoring in the period. Not mistaken. Actually, no, 2 in a row, excuse me, for hREDS. So we got to look there at the teams, and it's obviously got to be a confidence booster for hREDS to be able to get those early tallies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get shut out in that first game. You're not able to score. You lose in overtime when perhaps you were the better team down the stretch. But, you know, it doesn't matter. You lost the game. You got to find ways to score. They've done that so far. Again, minimal time on attack, but they're making the most of what's given to them. And that's definitely something that they're going to have to do. They can't be a team that's going to, you know, sort of wait for their opportunities and look for that efficiency as, you know, they're able to do in other matchups simply because they're able to exploit the defensive schemes of other teams. You're not really going to be able to do that against HAVU. If you are able to, that is, you know, beyond impressive, but they're doing a good job of taking what's given to them here. We'll see if they can continue on here in the second period as they do go offside. So what I've liked for them is the dump and chase that we've seen coming out. It's worked kind of more often than not, and even if it doesn't work, even if you don't win the puck race, the bouncing puck can really create fits for the defensemen back there. They can't get a clean handle on it or a handle on it as quickly as they'd like, which can really allow your forwards the opportunity to forecheck and create some turnovers.
Here we go, second period underway. Looking for the next twist to the tail here in this one. Chance here. Great possession work from Benito. Domi has it now. Getting back down low. What are they going to look for is the question. You never quite know. What was keeping you on your toes as Villapoika just lost that one. And Apes will be able to keep it in. Again, Benito. Circles back. Heavy collapse from HAVU. And Apes taking his time, and that pass intercepted well by J. Toro. HAVU trying to get in on the attack, but quickly shut down. Good forechecking pressure, but Villapoika comes up with it. Big spin pass. Nicky Dangles looking. Villapoika on the doorstep. Just couldn't keep a hold of that puck. HAVU looking to go down the other way. Foot race for it. Dominointi comes up with it. Still has it. Finds Flyer Kungan. Good D-to-D work there. And looking for those lanes. Plenty of patience with the puck. Close supporting on these passes as that feed. Dominointi is a little bit off the mark. He has it here, though. Down low. Puanzo in for a second chance for Dominointi. But FaZe is there to make a big stop.
Two massive saves from FaZe right there as HAVU got some chances, and then they moved that puck where they want it towards that slot, and a couple whacks at it. FaZe, enormous saves right there to maintain the 1-goal advantage.
Feed in front again, Dominoiti on the doorstep. Follow-up pass off the mark. HAVU quickly back in possession, trying to get right back in on the attack. See what can be done there. Pass in front. Dominoiti, another chance. On the doorstep, just doesn't go. Some good looks for HAVU here, controlling the opening half of the second period. We'll see what happens now. 8 minutes to play here in the second period. Puck down low in the corner, quickly worked back. Dominoiti, nowhere to go. It's in a real stalemate of a second period right now. Maybe more is advertised.
Yeah, definitely, and that's again, that's what HAVU is going to want right here is good zone entry. J-Tor moving it in, sends it all the way around. See what they can do.
Shot on second, chance there for Dominoiti, just wide. HAVU still getting the better of the play here in the second period, but as we know, all it takes is one chance, and hREDS on the rush have an opportunity here. It's off the leg of a defender, held in by Nicky Dangles. Villapoika back across, one-timer block down in front. hREDS trying to get that game going of their own. They've had possession time, just not much to show for it. Already down to 3 minutes left here in this second period. Puck drop there to try to keep it alive. Great job by Dominoiti, but turns it right back over. 1.5 minutes to go. Is there a goal to be found here in this second period? That one's off the mark. Final minute here. Sestelia looking. Again, the pass broken up immediately upon completion. And an offside call there with 6.2 to play.
So, probably not going to see too much here at the end, but you never know. If HAVU has a good neutral zone face-off play, there are a few options that they can run here. I want to see if they go tie-up. Yep.
And indeed, here's the opportunity. Loose puck back to now Sestelia. One-timer just wide of the post as time expired. That would have been incredibly close. Then the scoreline stays the same. It's a 1-goal game heading into the third.
Yeah, I think it would have been just a hair too late if that had found the back of the net. Regardless, though, nice attempt from HAVU there to try to get something late on. So hREDS kind of survive. I like that period a lot more for HAVU as hREDS kind of got that lead and almost seems to maybe revert back to being a bit more defensive. And well, that's, kind of okay. They got to remember what got them to the point with the lead was being a bit more aggressive, being a bit more willing to take the chances. And you see right there, they didn't even, I don't think, had a registered shot in that period. I think they were 5 shots with 2 goals after the first. So no registered shots there. And HAVU kind of, doing what they wanted to do on that play. So we get a look. The first goal that went in for Flyer couldn't get the response there. Excellently played by Nicky Dangles from the poke to the rush to the pass, feeding Villapoika to get that one again. On the rush right here, bouncing puck. Well played by Domi, recognizing the situation. Villapoika picking up his 2nd goal of the evening of this series, and hREDS have that 2-1 lead. And after the second as well. So not a whole lot of action there in that second period. Sort of reverted back to what we expected out of that first game, which I guess can work to the favor of hREDS with the lead, but I kind of worry if they stick with this, it's just going to kind of feed what HAVU wants to do and give them more of a chance here to tie this game up and send us to another overtime, which I know that's not what hREDS want. HAVU may want that. They want that chance to be coming back here. We'll see what happens.
Third period underway. HAVU find the goal. Let's be honest, they're likely to send us to overtime. Trends or anything to go off of here. hREDS to get back into this series. I think either side having a 2-0 lead heading into Wednesday would be a shock, as we have an icing call here early on. HAVU with a good chance coming up on an offensive zone draw.
Yeah, a little bit of a trouble right there for hREDS. Miscommunication on that play. Tried to feed Villapoika on the boards, but he had begun to cut to the middle Wow, what a play. Pwanzo with an in-tight shot.
A big stop by FaZe. Remember that one, of course. Had to make a couple of difficult saves here as this one's gone on. A lot of pressure on his shoulders as well. One of the big acquisitions for hREDS. Try and put them over the top. Bouncing puck results in an offside call. Still a long way to go here in the third, though, Sid.
Yep, I mean, time becoming a bit of a factor, of course, but yeah, a lot of time on the clock and only one goal needed for HAVU, and it can come from anywhere. All they need kind of is that one perfect opportunity, or that one bounce with the guys in the right position. This game is right back to square even.
That pass over to Jay Toro. Great poke check to take it out of the zone. HAVU again forced to reset, looking for that tying goal. Feels like they have a lot of time on the clock, but not so much. How this typically goes. All 4 games we've seen on this broadcast, incredibly fast-paced. Dominoiti has it now for HAVU. Let's see what they can do. Down to 12 minutes to play. And space here. Dominoiti, a little bit of a step. Tried to go short side. FaZe was able to stand tall on that one.
And kind of a little like stop and cut play for him with a mix of else getting, trying to see if he could catch the defensive hREDS panicking and overcommitting, trying to get back.
Battle for the puck. Jay Toro. Great poke check there by Domi. Forced to go back and corral the puck. Got to be very careful on these breakouts. Another pass off the mark, but valuable time ticking off the clock for HAVU here. This one goes all the way down. No icing. Villapoika wins the race anyway, and they score! What an effort from Villapoika. Able to find Benito in front. And it's now a 2-goal lead for hREDS.
Yeah, Nicky Dangles maybe, one of those immense game changers out there, but Villapoika has just been absolutely clutch. His 2 goals, making the most of the slight opportunities that they're getting. That time wins the puck race, and a beautiful pass back to Benito, who taps that one home 5-hole, and hREDS have taken a multi-goal lead here with less than 10 left in the third. HAVU's going to be hard-pressed to get back into this one, which could open up even more opportunities for the hREDS counterattack.
Right back in on the attack here. Puck down low, now kicked back up to Domi. Near turned over there, couple near turnovers, and finally it's HAVU able to settle it down. It was a tough enough task. You need a goal, now you need 2. With just 7 minutes to go. Managed to hold off hREDS for the entirety of Game 1 and into double overtime, but the offense finding its breakthrough. Unsurprising, of course, his team averaged almost 4 goals a game in a 30-game regular season, the highest average in the league. 5 minutes to play here. HAVU in the attacking zone. Jay Toro has it knocked loose and picked up by Nicky Dangles. Villapoika's with him. Back for Nicky, looking to cut in, short side, puck still loose. Poked out to the corner there by Benito. Not quite what he was looking for, but still, hREDS on the attack. Domi, the big shot, is denied. Kick back here, King of Apes. And a good interception from Pwanzo, under 3 to go. Can HAVU find a goal to make this one that much more interesting down the stretch? Flyer Coogan for Pwanzo in front. Held in at the point, and again sent down low. Off the post with the shot. Nasustelia on the D-to-D one-timer. Final minute of regulation here in Game 2. Here's hREDS, one more chance, and they score! It's going to be challenged, or at least waved off. We'll see. Might be a kick-in or goalie interference on himself for Villapoika.
I think interference, yeah. So, yeah, because the puck went in off the bounce afterwards, the fact that he ran into Hanselino does matter, but big relief right there for HAVU. They still have a chance to get 2, but an excellent poke at the blue line makes that hope just a little bit more grim. And you can see all 5 men back from hREDS.
So a pass off the mark, no icing, no, they went in and they score, but another goal being waved off. Perhaps, no, it's going to go. The referee was jostling. It's a goal. HAVU back to within 1 here in the final moments. Pwanzo
That's a big mistake by hREDS right there. Two men looked like both of them thought the other was going to get it right there. They just kind of let that puck go in between them. And the pass back actually went off of FaZe's leg, I believe. I'll get another look at it right here.
Quanso got credit, not Dominointi in front.
Yeah, great zoom right there to show the crowd reaction. Top notch. But yeah, that's something that's a mistake that hREDS cannot afford to make. They're fortunate they had a 2-goal lead, but there's 40 seconds left. HAVU with more chances now. You've given them a breath of life.
Here we go. Flyer Kungan off the side of the goal there. May have hit the pad of FaZe. Going down the other way. Villapoika all alone. Big stop by Hanselino. 23 to go. Here come HAVU down the other way. They have a chance, but they're held up in the neutral zone. Got to be careful with possession. Here's Jay Toro. They gain the line. Nasistelia has it knocked loose and sent all the way down. It will be icing. No, it won't. It's waved off, and hREDS will take game number 2, 3-2, your final. What a finish.
Fortuitous bounce right there for hREDS as HAVU unable to sort of handle that, get to the puck the way they wanted right there. But two kind of breaks for either side with bounces off of the board. The first one, I got to say, Domi, King of Apes, they have to communicate on that play. That cannot happen again against HAVU. They're, again, fortunate that they had a 2-0 lead at that point, but that, I mean, it creates too many chances. We saw hREDS score a goal like that where they passed back from the end boards in front to a streaking player, and they scored with Benito getting credit. That was what HAVU was kind of looking for right there, and Domi, King of Apes, both kind of separated from the puck there. You saw at the end of that, off the bounce of the boards, that both kind of, went in an opposite direction, which opened up the space for, I believe it was, Puanso getting in on the attack, trying to send it back. It goes off FaZe's leg and in. That's just, again, a mistake that you can't really afford to make right there. Communication is key, especially on defense there on those pucks, off the end board. Someone's got to get that, so you got to know who's going to get it to be in position there. But hREDS fortunately come away with the victory there. HAVU towards the end had the majority of time on attack, but unable to get the victory. So the team who leads in time on attack in each game has lost. Just kind of goes to show you the complexity of this matchup and how defensive things can be, and it can come down to a game of bounces right there, or a game of kind of split-second decisions and quick strikes from either team. hREDS not the series up 1 game apiece, and we're right where pretty much probably everyone thought we would be.
I mean, expect the unexpected in regards to results. Expect the unexpected between whistles. Truly, this season just keeps delivering in terms of the unpredictability factor, as, again, hREDS going to tie this series up at 1 apiece. Just an unreal turn of events there. 3-2, your final score. I mean, Sin, those last few moments as well, just absolutely bizarre.
I mean, they absolutely were. I mean, what a play by Villapoika right there. Opportunistic, to say the least, on all 3 of the points he got right here. But that's the play I was talking about. And actually, that's a weird animation. I could tell why maybe we thought that Dominointi would be getting credit for it. He did this shooting animation. That's where the puck ended up, on that side of the net and in. But yeah, it was indeed going off of the leg of FaZe and into the net off of the miscue from the hREDS defenders right there. And with a tight series like that, those mistakes are amplified tenfold. And again, that first game really didn't have too many mistakes. The second game, a couple here and there, but that's what's going to happen when one team or another is forced to open it up. hREDS opening it up early to try to get the advantage. They gain that advantage. HAVU, having to kind of counterattack on their own, maybe take a few more chances than they'd be willing to. Some rush plays back the other way. Nikki Dangle's excellent job of forcing turnovers, especially at the blue line from the defensive end. And that's really kind of what gave hREDS that advantage right there, and the reason why they came away with the victory.
So again, a huge result for hREDS as they tie this matchup up at 1 game apiece. Of course, on the other side, Philadelphia up 2-0 on Färjestad. These 2 series will continue on Wednesday. We hope to see you there. Again, NHLgamer.com for all the information that you need. Of course, a link to all the socials as well right here on Twitch. Just scroll down underneath and you'll find everything that you need. We thank you very much for supporting us here at NHL Gamer. This presentation of the ECL Elite Division postseason brought to you, of course, by our friends at Wilhelm, Kovalan, Lakritzi, and Via Play. You can find Sin, as always, on Twitter at SinFTWProd, as you see on your screen, on YouTube at Sin for the Win Productions. You can find me everywhere at Tugi24. We thank you all very much for joining us. We hope to see you on Wednesday as the postseason continues. Sin, technically, we're closer to finding out who's going to be in the finals, but it's very clear we have a long, long way to go.
Absolutely, and it's just going to keep getting more and more intense, especially this matchup right here. Very excited to see how things play out.
See you all on Wednesday. Have a good night.
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.